What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Excited to be here. Welcome to another episode of Hope. We are back at it. I'm excited to teach this class. I haven't been, this excited in a minute. This is going to be a really, really dope class, and I haven't been as much excited to teach something in a long time. So, hope everybody had a good week. I hope that you really implemented, thought about, chewed on what we discussed last week, because last week's class was it was one of them ones, and if you don't know what that means, like it was it was one of those fundamentals, those basics, those governing classes that you probably could go back as a refresher when you forget, because it was it was one of them ones. So we're going to touch a couple of those items tonight, but mostly we're going to go deep and talk about some of the things we talked about last week. But the title of tonight is called Emotional Traps. And before that, I want to acknowledge that if you guys haven't read in the news, the political activist Charlie Kirk was killed earlier today. He was shot in the neck during a debate. And really, his business was the business of debating differences in points of view and giving a perspective that maybe not necessarily was super popular to a certain group, and some of it maybe was offensive to some, but it was his opinion, and he got killed for it. So I just want y'all to think about that. The kind of society that you want to live in, where you could possibly get killed for your opinion. Is that crazy or is it not? Back in I'll say 1400s, if a scientist gave an opinion about a particular science, and if the crowd didn't like it, they could kill him. So when a scientist, I forget his name, discovered that the moon wasn't a rock, he got exiled, he got banned, and that was the concession for not killing him. We come from a place like that, where ideologies, disagreements get you killed. And it's hard to progress in a society like that. It's hard. When you boil it down, you think it's pretty stupid. I remember when maybe in mid 90s, we used to hoop at Bollinger Canyon Road. It was an outdoor hoop, and it used to be cracking on the weekends in San Ramon's, cracking like full. And one Saturday night, we all there hooping, and two dudes argue who was better, Michael Jordan or Larry Bird. Two dudes arguing. That's a typical argument. Then they just kept going, kept arguing, kept going, got more serious. One dude took off on him, bow, knocked him out. Then he hit his head on the concrete. I didn't stay to see what happened. But my point is, it's stupid, right? Michael Jordan or Larry Bird does not care, nor probably ever heard of that argument. Whatever brain damage dude got from it, it came from a disagreement, an opinion. Damn. So, how does that relate to this class? Entrepreneurship inherently is off the beaten path, completely. A lot of the things that we come out of our mouth, it can sound offensive. It just can. Because it's not on the beaten path. It's different. You know, when you hear shit like, fuck your life. Fuck your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Your ideas are trash. That's not scalable. Like, there are people who are hurt to this day. To this day. We got to get, we too soft. And when I say soft, I don't mean not willing to be violent. It means we're too emotionally soft. Well, you can't take a difference of opinion, process it. So we're going to talk more about that today because this is actually in the lesson. But let's get started. All right, man. Again, hella juiced, hella excited to teach this class. I was looking forward to coming here. Now, what is the nuance between suffering and gravity? Right? So we talked about gravity today. We talked about gravity previously, what that means. It's funny, man. All my partners, I can't ever get away with shit around my friends. I was talking to my friend today on the phone and he couldn't hear what I was saying all the way. And he was like, wait a minute, are you saying that you want some like credit for like being there for your kids? That's par for the course, man. He told me that's par for the course. And basically what he was saying is that's gravity. We all got shit. We all have to do that. I said, ho. Do you honestly chill? That's not what I said. He's like, oh, I was like, damn. But my friends are quick to do that to me because that's what we do for each other. Like, wait, time out. Like, are you complaining about gravity here? Mm-hmm. Right? So there's an entrepreneurial gravity. And that weight is hella heavy and you have to get used to it. And it takes work to get the strength, to build the muscles, to be able to not just stand up, but walk, but run and jump and perform in the gravity. Mm-hmm. But what is the difference between that and suffering? What's the difference between that and suffering? So, because some people can misconstrue or get the two kind of mixed up. And one of the keys to it is in output and in your environment and in your feedback loops. If you are on an island, it's going to be very hard to understand the difference between gravity and suffering. Because your feedback loops, your environment, and the people you have around you are the ones who can help course correct that thinking. Aside from your own personal journey, education, and learning. So if you see all the signs, but you ignore them and you enter into a toxic relationship with a person, toxic love relationship, and it's abuse, it's verbal abuse, maybe physical abuse, maybe neglect. Do you say, that's just gravity? Mm-hmm. No. You're in a toxic environment and you're suffering and you need to get out. You got to get out. Mm-hmm. You got to clear your space. If you have a horrible customer experience, your products aren't good, the quality is bad. So you experience an array of customer complaints, leaving, problems, drama. Do you say, that's the gravity of entrepreneurship? No. You got to clean that up. You got to clean it up. So you have to understand the difference between, am I inducing suffering by my behavior or my practices or my patterns? Or or is this the gravity of business? Now, in the gravity of business, are there falls? Are there mistakes? Are there problems? Are there issues? Hell yeah, it's gonna happen because we are not perfect individuals. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna drop the ball. We're gonna fall short sometimes. We're gonna fail ourselves, customers, other people. That's what happens. But you have to understand as a whole, is this the gravity of the game? And where am I inducing suffering? And how can I clean that up? How can I improve that in my life, in that particular aspect of my life? Those two are very important. Very important. Suffering, one of the major issues with suffering is the distraction that they cause. You lose time because suffering draws on emotions negatively, and negative emotions lower IQ. And if you're like a lot of people, it takes you a while to ramp back up to a neutral place where you can really perform. So distinguish the two, suffering, gravity. As an entrepreneur, as a human being, as a parent, as a friend, know the two. So last week's class, we talked about giving and having giving energy. When you're clear of the difference between suffering and gravity, your giving qualities are better. You see what I'm saying? Because now you can distinguish, am I interfering with gravity or am I helping suffering? Relieve suffering. Interfering with gravity, you might be fucking up somebody's wings. You see what I'm saying?
This is well said.
So when I'm thinking about suffering and gravity, I'm thinking that it's two different mindsets. But something that also comes up for me is radical responsibility. So I want to know, how does that show up in between the two, suffering versus gravity?
Well, bringing radical responsibility to this table is you own both of them. I own them. So suffering and gravity also can point to me or by me. They correlate with these as well. But radical responsibility takes yourself out of the situation and say, hey, I own this. And I own this suffering. I caused it. It's not happening to me. I own it. What am I going to do about it? What's my strategies and how to improve it? Gravity is a macro look at what you're doing. If you walk up to an entrepreneur and say, man, shit, I just took a big loss. A seasoned entrepreneur is going to say, yeah, okay, cool. And what'd you do? Good. This is your first one? That's par for the course. That's gravity. It's not what happens, is what you do. I was reading a book today, and it was saying that you can make a lot of mistakes in business and still win big.
Mm-hmm. That's the truth.
Because it depends on how well you are trend spotting. And if you are trend spotting on the major trends, the giant trends, if you are in the vein of the giant trends, then if you make a lot of mistakes over here, you could still win big. See what I'm saying? So it's not about the mistakes. It's about How am I actualizing the solutions for these mistakes? How am I owning this so I can get better? You know, like the last couple of morning meetings, I'm holding people to the flame. I don't want to hear nothing else but taking responsibility. How can I own it? You know what I'm saying? Suffering is you know, you have stress plus nutrients equals growth. It's gravity stress. Suffering stress is a different kind of stress. And what you want to do is identify the difference between the two. Good?
Yes.
Is that helpful? Hope. Oh, okay. Let's move on to the next slide.
Fear of failure can lead to a scarcity mindset and defensive thinking.
Okay. So if I had to pick top 5 reasons why a lot of folks can't move the needle, one of them is fear of failure. I can't pinpoint what number it is, but it's up there, high. Fear of failure. And my brother last week gave a dope-ass class about offense and defense. And fear of failure will have you locked into this defensive thinking, and you can't see out of that. It's the difference between curling up in a ball so that you don't get hit and covering your vital organs. And the more you're getting hit, the harder you're trying to cover your vital organs, thinking that is the solution. Now realizing that swinging back is a better move. Swinging back. Finding an opening and swinging back. Having some sort of offense. But most of the time, we fear failing so much that all we want to do is protect what we got, protect what we have, protect the vital organs. Because that scarcity mindset kicked in, that fight, flight, or freeze response. So, all of my perfectionists out there, all the people who have to get it just right before they launch it. I got to do it just perfectly before I release it to the market. What if I fail? What if no one likes it? They just won't like it. So what? Like, it just didn't work. It just didn't work. We got to stop being afraid to fail. You got to be good with failure, because entrepreneurship is a lot of failure. I want to say mostly failure. Failed ideas, failed attempts, failed tries. It's like, you got to understand the way this game works. The root of it, the C of it, is failure. And the success comes out of failure, because it's so hard. If your job is looking for solutions to problems, that's how you eat. That's how you generate revenue. In the sea of problems, in the sea of failures, you're looking for solutions. That's it. But you can't get caught in who cares? Who cares? Like, if there was a cemetery for ideas that never got off the ground because people were afraid to fail, it'd fill up this whole earth. And You have to get comfortable with it. Have to just be, is what it is. Stop giving a fuck. Next slide.
Awesome. Let me just add something to failure. I think a lot of times there's two things that's working with that distorts failure. Many of us look at failure as it's a process that happens in the process of a beginning and an end. But in business, there's no end. It's just a continuum, right? So a lot of times we frame failure under defensive and negative. I frame failure as an offensive tool, because what it is, it becomes a feedback source. So if I can get something out there quickly, I can get a feel for, like, for example, I don't know what the next best album is going to sound like. Like, say if I want to create some music, right? I don't know what the next hot song is going to be, right? But one of the fastest way to figure that out is get something out there and see the crowd's response, and then tweak as you see as a crowd responds, and then eventually you build a successful product, right? So speeding up failure, rushing to failure, embracing failure allows you to learn faster and produce success. Avoiding failure is actually slowing your growth and your learning process down. My last point, my daughter was hanging out with her best friend, and two alpha young ladies. Oh my God, they're so powerful. And they're both 7, and they tell everybody in the room what to do. So at one point, my she's just talking freely, and her friend is correcting the way she speaks. So my daughter lets her do it like 2 times in a row. Third time, she says, look, I need you to stop trying to correct me, because I learned from making mistakes, and and I'm comfortable with my mistakes. so just that whole idea I taught her since day one, like, failure is not a signal. It's not a stamp of failure as far as an ending to a horrible act and a destination. To me, I tell her that failure is the beginning of the process of her learning. And if she's failing, that means she's learning.
Mm-hmm. So good. And here's the thing. Most of entrepreneurial successes come from basic ideologies. Not hard. It's not hard to articulate. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially the 0 to 200,000, 0 to 500,000, is not complicated ideologies. It's not. It's simple shit like this. Not being afraid to try. Mm-hmm. Once you get to the multi-millions, or even the millions, or you're trying to scale, then things have to. You start having to break things down in a more complicated fashion. But to get to, like, off the ground and in the air, if you haven't got off the ground and in the air yet, then we're not going to talk about complex adaptive thinking right now. Most of what your problem is comes from fear of failure. Because there's some scarcity in there, and there's defensive thinking in there. We're not talking about all that other, the shit that that Nana can articulate better than I can. We ain't talking about that. Cause you're still down here. I want to get you off the ground to where you're like, all right, Court, that was dope. Nana, can you help me with this? That's where I want. Because a lot of you guys are stuck down here and it's basic shit, and you want to skip over and ask for, tell me about all the second principles, third orders, first principle, second principle thinking, those things, when the basics are left behind. That's why we did that back to the basics class. And the thing about back to the basics, no human being in entrepreneurship is ever bigger than the basics in entrepreneurship. Never. Because there's going to be times, I don't care how much money you make, billions, you're going to get caught in a wind of scarcity or defensive thinking, and you need somebody or something to click you back. Maybe you've been killing it, but you got punched in the stomach. Boom. And now you got a little bit PTSD. You're looking around. You're a little bit nervous. You're gun shy about making moves. You got to go back to basics. So fear of failure. Yes, it's most 80% of a lot of us. What the fuck are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You might have to sometimes dig deep, go down into your memory banks and think about, man, what fears are holding me back? Next slide.
Fear of success can lead to self-sabotage.
Okay. Now, for those of you whose issues is not fear of failure, some of us can't move because we're afraid of success. To some of us, success is the unknown. We know how to fail because we've done it our whole life. We comfortable with failing. I know how to I know how to rob Peter to pay Paul. I know how to struggle. I know how to downside. I know how to do all the shit around struggle and survival and all the shit around barely making it and figure it out. But success? Oh shit. Part of me wants it, but the other part is, man, what if I get up there and I lose it all? What if I don't know how to handle it? What if I wild out? What if my friends start tripping when I get it? What if somebody tries to rob me and take it from me? Like, what if? And those what ifs, a lot of times, can make us more gun shy in our execution. Some of us fear succeeding. We ain't really thought about that, huh? Actually, what if you get your goal? What if you actually hit your target? You cool? How does it make you feel? If it makes you feel a little like, oh shit, scary, there might be something to look into. Self-sabotage is a motherfucker. It's your body trying to protect you from getting hurt. I don't want to see you get hurt. Is this the 10th time you've been late to that big meeting or that big opportunity? Is the 10th time you woke up and your alarm clock didn't just happen to not turn on again when you got this big opportunity on the horizon? Like, really get clear and understand, what are my fears? It could go on both sides, or it could be both. Fear of success, fear of failure. Us human beings are very we're embedded with flaws that if we on this journey, we got to constantly work through. Feedback loop with ourselves, be observant with ourselves, and allow others people to be observant with us. That's why it's so important that you don't bite the hand that gives you feedback. Never bite the hand that gives you feedback. Never. Because you never know when that could be valuable for you. What are some things? Who writes to-do lists at the beginning of the day? Half the class, most. What are some of the things that gets, let's say, routinely left out in terms of getting done for the day, that you have to write again the next day? You know that one that you didn't do it on a Monday, so you took it and you carried it over to the Tuesday? And you didn't do that and you carried it over to the Wednesday? What typically is that most of the time? Can anybody think of it? Fern? Let's be honest in this motherfucker.
It goes in waves, right? And so I'm in this wave of like missing my reading. The last wave, I was missing my exercise. But I've also lessened the amount of stuff that I've put on it now to where I don't have excuses. Like, all right, you could add more after you knock these out because you are ignoring shit. So get it together.
Who else? Anybody else?
I feel like oftentimes it's like my self-care routines, like my journaling or my meditating. I have a morning routine that I always hit because it's like the first thing I do, but my evening routines are often trashed by that just because I'm just like stressed, trying to crutch things in, and then I'm tired, and then I tend to fall off.
Who else? Anybody else? No? Nobody else want, I ain't doing that shit. Because understand, observe that. Know thyself. Know exactly what that is. When you get good at knowing exactly what that is, instead of hiding from it or ignoring it, know you ain't shit in some areas. Where are you not shit at? I can name it off. For me, I can name it off. Oh, I ain't shit there, and there. Period. Because I know myself. I know where I'm not performing and where I'm performing. But start with just acknowledgement and observation. Know yourself. Because sometimes being aware by itself helps you get through it and heal it.
That was the other thing that I was thinking. The self-reflection. I usually have like a weekly recap of like what I did well, what I could have done better, and what I want to work on for the next week. And when I'm in a good pace, I'm great. Like, I'm on it. And then I set out my goals, and I have like my house goals for like me and Gabs. I got my business goals. I got like my personal stuff. And when I'm in a good tempo, I'm like really good at that. But then if I be with the stuff, it'd be the first thing to go where I'm like, do I really want to think about what I did wrong this week? No, because that's going to make me have petty energy. And am I going to lock in or am I going to change? And so that's like one of those things, depending on where I'm at emotionally, like if I actually want to acknowledge where I'm at.
Interesting. Next slide. So,
You want me to read it? Oh. Let go of everything you know.
you got to be willing to let go of everything you know. You got to be willing to let go of everything you know. Last week we said it. None of us is really that smart. Perspective-wise, not even close. So, what makes you think that we can achieve what we want to achieve with such limited, controlling sliver of little knowledge that we have? It don't work. You got to always be willing to let go. Always be willing to let go what you know. I don't care what it is, and I know that's scary for some of you guys. I don't care what it is. You got to be willing to divorce yourself from a belief in order for you to get better, for you to grow, for you to expand, for you to improve. You got to be, everything has to be on a chopping block. The Milky Way galaxy, right? Billions and billions and billions of stars, right? With now the knowable universe, you would have to put 26 zeros after it of how small we are. 26 zeros after the Milky Way galaxy of how tiny we are. I don't even know the name or the number of how giant the universe is that we see now. We finally see now. We're that tiny. That tiny. So how the hell can we walk around like we know everything? You can't. So most of the things that we need to succeed are outside of us. So we move automatically with a limited perspective, even on this earth. Now you just take not the Milky Way galaxy, but just on planet Earth and us as human beings, right? 90% of the things that happen on the planet Earth, we can't see. Our eyes aren't built to see. Our senses aren't built to see it. So we can't even see 90% of the stuff that's happening on just this one small planet, but we want to know everything. You can't. So really, really advanced people know that they don't know shit. And they're willing to let it go and engage in a dialogue and upgrade their mental software right there on the spot. Wait, what? You don't? Why? Tell me more about that. Why? Because I believe this. You believe that? Really? Noted. I'm going to take it and run with it. I just upgraded my software. Like, that is how you become. That is the superpower. It's power of the people. It's not power of you. Your power is super limited compared to the power of the people. Meaning, if I absorb some of your power, I hung around with Jasadi, and the best of Jasadi, I learned, and now I incorporated in my life. And then I hung around Scott. And Scott is good at another thing, just natural, innately good, but he taught me the shortcuts and helped me improve. Now I absorbed some of Scott's power, some of Nana's power, Shakina's power, Jordan's. Everybody's in here. I absorbed the best version of you and exchanged with you was the best version of me. I don't fuck with you, Josh. Nah, I'm messing with you. There's one time I'll say I'm just kidding because I do fuck with you. I fuck with you, Josh. Josh is a good dude. I know. I'm not. That's banned for TV. That's too hot for TV.
Keeping it PG.
I'm keeping it PG. But you see how that makes you powerful? Now think about everywhere you go. Now think about throughout your whole life. We just talking about this room. Imagine if you've moved and lived and operated like that. Hard to beat a person like that. It's just hard to beat a person like that. Versus I don't do that. I don't mess with that. You know, I know this. I know. It's hard to beat a person who is humble enough to be willing to let go and drop anything that doesn't work for them anymore and adapt to what's working for somebody else in a way that if it's working, I'm taking it. I'm leaving it. That like it's hard to beat a person like that. Fuck competing. You can't even compete with a person like that because you ain't got the mental, emotional skill set to even adopt the same principles as that person. You just got to watch him go up. So key to it is you got to let go. Be willing to let go. Be willing to let go. I had a particular diet that I adopted for 18 years. It worked for me. It was good for me. It helped some health issues, little health issues that I had. And it got me, to a decent place where I was comfortable. I met a person. And I would get my blood test and all my blood work and it'd be cool, Met a person in January. Brother, you know, cool brother. We in the gym working out all the time. I'm thinking this brother is my age. So I'm talking to him like a homie. Not like, if I knew his, not like I'm talking to him like a homie. And then one day I said, yeah, shit, because when you get our age, he's like, then it quickly hit me when he said, young man, how old do you think I am?
Young man. Young man.
I said, wait, young man? Oh, shit. 50 like me? He said, man, I'm 70 years old. I said, wow. Give me your routine. Give it to me. And he gave me a diet that I was completely against. I've read books about that shit. That's horrible. You're tripping. You could die. Heart attack. Crazy. So we debated. I laughed. He laughed at me. I laughed at him. We debated back and forth. He starts sending me links and videos and YouTubes and doctors this and references and studies and scientific studies and this. And as I'm reading, I'm like, oh shit. So then I'm like, all right, you know what? To prove you wrong, I'm gonna try it for 30 days. Then I can really get at you. That 30 days went to 8 months. Changed my whole aches, pain, did my markers, my blood count, way better than I was. I was cool, way better than I was. But if I was so stuck on, I'm on this gang, vegetarian gang, I don't care how diehard it was. 18 years of it. Fuck it. Fuck it. You gotta be willing to divorce your stuff. Gotta be willing to divorce it. If not, you're gonna hit these plateaus and not understand why the world passing you. Next slide.
The craziest thing you can do.
The craziest thing you can do. The craziest thing you can do. The fucking craziest. The pull your fucking hair out craziest thing you can do is
complain about the failures you want to change and defend the knowledge that you got there.
Oh God.
Much of what exists is entirely unknown to us.
You know what makes it, because it happens all the time. I want to change. I don't like where I'm at. I hate this. I hate this. All right. Well, pull your hands off. No. I want to change. I want to change. I hate this. Okay. Well, let me peel your hands off. No. You can't move. I can't get you out of here unless you, but I don't want to let go. You don't want to let go of the shit that's fucking your life up? No. Why? I'm either afraid of failure or I'm afraid of success. Okay, well, that means you just want to stay here. No, don't go.
Yep, this happens all the time, bro.
Don't go. No, help me. No, really, help me. Do you understand? That's insanity. I can't help you. Nobody can help you. You make that make sense for me. Make it make sense. Most of what exists is entirely unknown to us. So if you remember the Johari window, right? The Johari window has
4 quadrants.
Exactly. So it has your 4 quadrants. And the unknown part is where most of the world exists. That's why it takes the power of the people to help put texture to things in our lives, to help us, to give us texture, balance, to give us boundaries. Like it's the power of the people, observation and feedback loops. We need feedback loops. That is we'll call it the sonar that we need. You know how bats see? They bounce off waves off of each other. They bounce off waves from everything. So they can move and not hit none of this stuff. And they have no eyes. Why? Because they use a feedback loop. And if you throw enough signals out there, it can show you the whole world with no eyes. So we say, I don't know how to get through this life. It's too tough. Our feedback loops is probably 0. What do you think I need to do to get better, Fern? What do you think I need to do? What do you think I need to do? That's sonar. I'm bouncing, I'm throwing it at. So if a bat sonar, if you can put a label on it, it will be question. How far are you? 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 You're asking, how far are you? And it's coming back 10 feet, 5 feet, 3 feet, 1 feet. And you're moving based on the sonar. Okay, thank you. How we move through this life, our sonar is a feedback loop amongst each other. Did they like it? Did they purchase it? No. What they say? What was the feedback? How many stars did it get? What are my friends saying? Family saying? Strangers saying? And if you don't have that, if we are so hurt in our life, we've been so fucked up in our life, we've been so damaged in our life that as adults, we like, I don't want no more negativity. I want all flowers. I want no more problems as an adult. You can't be an entrepreneur.
Come on, man.
Go get a job.
Come on.
Go get a job. You can win with a job. But this shit ain't for you. Not at all. Not at all. Because feedback to some feels like it's negative, but to an entrepreneur, it's data. It's fucking data. You didn't like it. Okay. Let me find out what. It's data. This shit is the craziest. It hurts the most too. Because at a certain point, you got to walk away and just sit there and watch them hold on, suffer, and die like that. Straight die like that. You come back and it's a skeleton holding on. Damn. Fuck. Shit's hard to watch. Mm-hmm. And guess what happens when you decide, you like, I can't help you. Guess who they turn on? You. Can't believe he did. You ain't no fucking, who the fuck you think you are? How you just gonna leave like that? So you got your money and left, huh? That, like, literally, that's what happens. So that's why it's the craziest thing. It's insanity. Fuck, man, like, and I watched him go through it. And it's crazy to watch. Hey, you know, and some of it ain't even like this. Some of it's like, you're doing good. You just got a couple fingers holding on. Just let me get this finger. Don't touch my fingers. Mm-hmm. Look, you're doing good. I just want to help. You better not touch my fingers. Mm-hmm. Can't believe you touched my fingers. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's a cold game. Mm-hmm. So I over exaggerate this because it can be the most devastating thing to live a life and waste it. And now you're 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, you look back and realize that's all I could have did is just this. Some people never get it, but what hurts a lot of times is when you're older, in your 70s and you 75, 80s, and you realize this was the only thing was holding you back. You had the skill, you had the knowledge, you had the ability, you had the resources, but your fear of failure and fear of success had you like this. And then you learn how to let go, but it's too late. The timing's fucked up. The era has changed. Nobody's wearing that shit no more that you were ahead of the game at. Nobody's listening to that kind of music no more that you were a pioneer in. Nobody's doing in the culture the things that you were ahead of the game at. Era's gone. Shit ain't gonna give a fuck about you. Shit ain't waiting for you. You got to get on. You got to get on.
That's real talk, bro.
Next slide.
Rules, laws, culture, and the perspective theory.
Man, I'm all emotional and shit. This goes back to fear of failure. You know, in entrepreneurship, again, you have to learn, have a healthy understanding of the difference between rules, laws, culture. Rules, laws, culture. Understand that? Rules, laws, and culture.
Most people don't know what that is. They don't know what that is.
So here's an example. When my sons were little, I'm walking past the hallway and I hear them talking about they bully. One's in 3rd grade, one's in 5th grade. I'm at the door listening, talking about they bully. So I bust the door open. Hold on, y'all got a bully? Yeah. He's fucking with both of y'all? Yeah. Okay, look. It's 2 of y'all. And y'all got a bully? Y'all go to the same school? Yeah. It's 2 of y'all. So my oldest son says, but the teacher says we'll get in trouble. We'll get suspended. I said, you ain't gonna get suspended at home. I don't give a fuck what the teachers say. How long you been bullying you? 2 months. So you've been letting this kid terrorize both of y'all for 2 months? Yeah. Anthony, how come you letting your brother get beat up? No, I make him chase me so he won't chase my little brother. I said, all right, well, one of y'all or both of y'all take care of this bully, period. So I don't care about what they do at school. You ain't gonna get in trouble at home. Right? Next day, 8:05 in the morning, I get a call from the principal. Can you come to the school? Your son just got into a fight. So I don't know who it is, which son it was yet. But I pull up, and you know the hallways are echoey. So as soon as I pull up and I start walking in the hallway, I hear, "My dad said I could fight. My dad said I could fight." I'm like, he's snitching on me already. So I walk in, and it's my youngest son, Andre. Andre stole on the kid. Bow. And so all the principal, the teachers, the administrators, when I walked in the hallway, they're all like this, tight, mean mugging me. So the principal says, excuse me, so you told your son to come into the school and fight and participate in that kind of behavior? You told him that? I said, I sure did. Because for 2 months, for some reason, y'all yard duty must be sleep or in his car chilling or don't see what's going on, because y'all allowed both of my sons to get bullied by the same kid, which I'm sure has bullied a lot of kids. So yeah, I told him to beat his ass because y'all not doing your job. And so I heard a in the background, and everybody's hands kind of unwrapped, and they was like, yeah, it's true. In that moment, I don't care what y'all rules are. I don't care what the law is. In order for us to have a healthy culture in our household, you have to do that, even if it breaks the rules in that environment. So So in entrepreneurship, there are rules and laws. A lot of times you guys misconstrue a rule and think it's a law. I tell everybody, don't break no laws. Life is going to be hard for you if you're breaking laws. Too risky. But you can break a lot, if not all, the rules. And so you have to understand where the rules begin and end and where the laws begin. And a lot of times, etiquette and you're not supposed to do this or not supposed to do that. A lot of times, those are rules. Here's another one. If you're in a fast lane going 75 miles an hour, 70 to 75 miles an hour, are you breaking the law? It's going 70 to 75 miles an hour. Are you breaking the law?
Yes.
You are breaking the law, but are you breaking the rules?
No.
How?
Because you have within like 10 to 15 miles over the speed limit before you get a ticket.
Absolutely true. Now here's a thing. That is true. So you're breaking the law, but you're not breaking the rule, because the rule is everybody kind of knows there's like a 10 mile kind of variance that you can go to not get a ticket. Now, how about this though? If somebody's going 80 miles an hour and they come behind you, if you stay in that lane, are you breaking the rules? Are you breaking culture?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yes. You see how that works? See how that works? It's a cold game. You gotta know rules, laws, and culture. Now, if you are this kind of person, I'm not moving. I have a right to be here. I'm not doing anything wrong. Guess what's gonna happen?
Bop.
Your ass gonna get honked at or more, because you're breaking culture. You might be following law. You might be following rules, but you're breaking culture. Now, if speed limit 65 miles an hour and you're going 65 miles an hour, but you're in the fast lane, are you breaking rules and culture? Absolutely, but you're not breaking no law. So are you going to be, well, I'm not breaking the law, so I'm not budging. You'll have the whole fast lane mad at you, right? So think about that. How can you do the right thing, but have the whole fast lane mad at you? Because you don't understand rules and culture. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we get caught and we get lost, or we be like, I'm confused, or I don't understand why that didn't go that way, or didn't go, because you don't understand the dynamic between rules, laws, and culture. Fuck the rules as an entrepreneur. Fuck the rules. Know the laws and definitely know the culture, so that you know if there's a rule within this culture that you probably shouldn't break, don't break it. If you want to maintain good relationship with this culture, but understand the dynamic between the two. Oh, this is so fucking important.
I don't think they get it.
Man, this is so fucking important, bro. Oh, this is why I want.
This is everything.
Let me tell you. Like when I was playing craps, and as an advanced player in craps, it means you just learned ways to bump up the odds, right? You just learn ways to bump up the odds in craps. That's it. And if you learn how to bump up the odds, then you're going to win slightly more, and you know how to maximize the times you win and minimize the times you lose, so that at the end of the day, you got a big pile. That's all that is. Table hates you. Table hates me. The workers hate me, and the people hate me. Why? Because the flow of the game that keeps everybody laughing and talking and happy and all of that stuff, they only win where you hear everybody laughing and joyous, and that only happens every blue moon. So everybody's willing to lose all those times just to feel that one feeling 8% of the time. Fuck that. Y'all can have that. So the rhythm of somebody who increases the odds, it messes up the flow of the game. The people who work there, they working all the time because you taking stuff off, putting it on, changing it here, grabbing it. No, give me that back. No. So they don't like you. So you're breaking the rules and culture. I had somebody like, man, get this dude out of here. Come on, man. You messing up the game, man. Shit. I've had that. Just wait to the end. Just wait to the end. I'm willing to not care about your culture for the sake of what I'm trying to do. Fuck your culture and fuck your rules. Is it against the rules? Technically, no. Okay then. Is it against the law? Technically, okay then. Keep playing. Move out the way. In business, it's like that. Well, it's just not how we do it. Okay. It's not how you do it. This has never been done before. Is it against the law? No. I don't give a shit if it's never been done before. We about to do it now. Rules, laws, culture. Now, if you are in a culture and you have a tribe, there's certain things that you might have to bypass and sacrifice that you may want to do for the sake of the tribe. That's culture. But you need to assess and understand that. Scott?
Want to invert this real quick and just talk about something that I've learned from working at 510 Media. Your rules and laws don't mean shit if your culture is whack. If your culture is whack, all those corporate rules and laws that you put in place, your employees are not going to follow any of that. They might because they're afraid and they want to keep their job, but you're not going to be an effective entity as a business if your culture is whack. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if your culture is whack, it's terrible.
Great point.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is advanced strategy. It really is, and it takes a lot of boldness. But that's where a lot of big innovation comes from. Exactly what you're talking about, right? Tesla did this, right? There's a lot of companies that do this all the time that are just groundbreaking. This Apple did this, right? But what you have to do is have ownership of what is rules, laws, and culture. Where this breaks down is if you don't own those. So a lot of people who grew up in toxic culture don't value culture. They think culture is just a privilege that is kind of like dressing or seasoning. They don't see it as the substance itself. Rebel without a cause. A lot of people coming out of the rebellious culture have a bad relationship with laws. Not seeing the value of why laws are important, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's rules. Rules are so abstract that most people don't value them until they are a victim of them. So there's a degree of ownership of rules, laws, and culture to really get the depth of what you're saying. Otherwise, they will take their interpretation of all three and create a clusterfuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is a starter. It's one slide. We could teach a whole class on this. Man. 2 classes: rules, laws, culture. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, first you think about what kind of culture you want to build. Think about what kind of culture you want to build. People like us do things like this. This is our rules. This is a status game within the culture. This is how you gain status in the culture. So within the culture, let me create the laws in the culture. What are the bylaws? Thou shalt not do X. This will get you kicked out. This will get you this. This will get you that. This will get you this. What are the rules? Us as humans, we move with lots of rules. Lots and lots and lots of rules. Unwritten rules, things that we just don't do. Things that we just don't do. And you have to know what culture you're in to know which rules to apply.
Oh boy. That's major.
Have you ever hung out with a person first or second day out of prison? Ain't that shit a headache?
Only you would come with that though, bro.
Like, because all the rules that they had are talking, you like, fuck, man, like, shit.
That's true though.
You can't even look at, like, it's certain things to talk about that you don't even think about. You have to know what culture you in. Mm-hmm. You have to know what culture you in and be able to, do you want to abide by the rules or back out?
That's real talk.
You can't walk around assuming that your rules is the same as everybody else's rules. And when you come in, you might offend some people.
Come on, with simple shit.
With basic, simple shit. Like, you can't even, you stare at somebody in the eyes too long, it's up.
A simple joke can end everything.
In everything. So this is so important because there's certain worlds that I won't play in because I don't know the rules, or I'm unwilling to change for those rules. I'm not willing to change. Not yet. Y'all can have that. I'm cool. Or I hire y'all take care of that. This game is internal and external. Remember that. This game is internal and external. You're creating these three things on the internal, and you're engaging those three things on the external at all times.
Agent Safe also say that, like, you're teaching the foundation of real networking. Because when you network, you're not networking with people with your experience, you're networking with people with different experiences. Mm-hmm. You'll find real quick as you start to climb ladders or you start to get broader exposure or richer exposure, all those change. Also, when you travel, you know this because you go to China. When you travel, all these are different.
All of them are different.
All of them are different. And you go out to, as a matter of fact, this is called why Americans are rejected in most countries, because we show up projecting our rules, laws, and culture, and we offend everybody within that culture. That is a rule. My boy just told me one story. One of my friends asked me, I have a Jewish friend who invited me to go to Tel Aviv to hang out with him and his family, his friends, strong network of people, good people, everything. So my Puerto Rican partner called me. He's like, yo, Nana, I just want to let you know, I got to prep you for this. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, I went to Tel Aviv last year, and I wish you would use the word racist. It doesn't mean anything out there. The first thing dude said to me was, this is not America, bro. I could be as racist as I want. This is Jerusalem. I mean, because they don't have that value system, because that's just the way that culture works. It's not a good or bad. It's just different. And so if you don't know these differences, you can go to another country or do a business with somebody or international business or even national business thinking you're just doing a good thing and literally ruin the relationship. So one of the things I suggest is that you kind of spend some time learning the rules, laws, and culture before engaging foreign groups, even locally, which will give you a hell of an upper hand.
Hell of an upper hand. When I went to China, it's so packed everywhere. People have no sense of space. They touching you. And you like, man, bro, give me my 5 feet. Like, damn. There's none of that. Yeah. They own you. In the subway, this, that. They're not even paying attention to you, but they touching you. And you like, I got my hands in my pockets, making sure nobody pickpocketing. But that's the culture. It's the culture. And so these three things, and maybe we'll tap back into it at another time. But these 3 things are so important. So important.
I was just gonna say one thing, like when you're entering into these new spaces, is when we do it, we have a Sherpa, somebody who's a part of that space to help guide us to make sure that we aren't fucking shit up. And I did learn that, dealing with international teams, like my Indian folks, I can't say certain things where it gels.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different from my team in Beijing, where the same words just don't apply. And we learned it real well when, like going into Belize, because we're literally doing international business at that time. So it's, I always, even going to like New York, DC, LA, having someone who knows that not even just the city, the zip code. You can't go to Crenshaw and 42nd and be the same, on 100 and somewhere in Beverly Hills. It's the same kind of rules apply where you want to have somebody in that space, if you can get it, to help you navigate, so you don't want to mess up potential business opportunities by just being ignorant to what's going on. So we try to find a Sherpa to help us through those spaces and places that we're unfamiliar with.
Good one. Here's the thing. Now, knowing this game, I want you to start observing. If you think back into your memory banks of, say, all the concerts you've been to or all the comedy shows you went to, and good artists, if anybody from like Oakland, if you've been to a lot of concerts in Oakland, and a good artist, a big artist, will stop the show and play a local song by a popular artist in that area. Why? They know culture. They did their homework on culture. They did their homework on the rules. And so they may freestyle something about a super popular spot in East Oakland and a block in East Oakland and a rapper who they was hanging out with in East Oakland while playing a Too Short song, right? Happens all the time, right? They're giving you a master class in culture and rules. If any of you guys been to comedy shows, a good comedian somewhere in the show is going to say, yeah, well, I just got back from Everett and Jones, man. It was smacking. And everybody go, oh, Everett and Jones. You mean Everett and Jones? They did their homework on culture. They just reeled you in. Yeah, and I was in 6-9ville the other day, man. It's crazy out there. Oh, he went to 6-9ville. They reeling you in, saying, I know your culture. I can identify with your culture. You know, the funny part is, if you go out to, say, St. Louis and watch that same comedian and artist, they ain't going to be shouting out no East Oakland. They're going to be talking about St. Louis streets, and they're going to bring a popular St. Louis rapper because they understand the rules, culture, and laws, and how to pull you in based on identifying with your culture. You're a business person. You got to run that. You got to do that. Next slide.
Through me, thinking in action. You are the channel.
Okay, let's go next slide.
How to know if you do not have through me thinking.
Not. So we're just going to go with the, how do you know if you don't have it? And I can help you with the opposite. Let's go.
Resist feedback instead of allowing it to shape
shit.
you.
That's coming back to the feedback loop. We weaving it like a fine sweater. It's all connected. If you resist feedback instead of allowing it to shape you, you don't have through me thinking. What's the next one?
All the ideas have to come through you controlling.
You got to be the one to have all the ideas and you controlling with that. You do not have through me thinking. Next slide.
As me thinking and action, becoming one with it.
Next slide.
You don't play an instrument. You merge with it. You are it. You immerse yourself so deeply in a thing that people can't separate you from it.
Okay. That are those things in action. I am it. We talked about this in entrepreneurship. You got to lose yourself into this entrepreneurship. If you controlling or holding on, how can you immerse yourself? How can you be obsessed with this? How can you lose yourself in it when you holding on? Like a lot of times you can tell what a person does just by their demeanor. When a person is as me, you can tell what a person does by just watching them, observing them. When we, you know this probably, Jordan, or anybody who plays sports. Say you play hoop. Play so much hoop, I could sit in the gym, and a person can walk in the gym, and I can tell how good they are by how they walk in the gym. How? That's crazy. I can tell how good somebody is by their walk, because you play hoop, you play so much that it changes your body composition, how you walk, how you see the world, how you. That's as me. That's as me. I got him. I got him. See what I'm saying? Whatever you do, whatever your profession is, you should be able to hear that person talk for a few minutes and be like, wait a minute. What do you do? If you're over here and what you do is over there, you ain't as me.
Come on, there you go.
You ain't as me. I am it. I am it. So I wanted to go a little bit deeper in those two because I felt like you guys needed a couple more examples that you can really identify, like through me and as me. We lost in this shit. If we hung out all day, the first probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes would be about all the surface bullshit. Oh, there's that. She cute, that she not cute. Then that goes away, and it'll end up in some business conversation for hours. For hours, because I've lost myself in it, immersed myself in it. Hey, how can you tell a really good MMA fighter?
His ears.
Cauliflower ears.
Why?
But also, I want to say this is one of my favorite things about no-gi jiu-jitsu, because no-gi generally you can't tell what the rank is, what their belt rank is, because everybody just has like t-shirts and shorts on. But you can tell in the first 30 seconds to 1 minute when you take grips, when you're standing, somebody puts their hands on you, you're either like, oh, I'm good, or, oh, I'm fucked. But and that's what I love. Like the truth is there. Like you're like as me, like you're saying, like you can tell by the way that they handle you.
Yes.
I'm in a world of trouble.
Yes. You see them ears? Hey, it's cool, blood. Or go get your pistol, because it'll be a long night.
Maybe not.
As me. You know what they said? I don't give a fuck about my physical appearance. I lost myself into this thing. I love it so much. I love it so much. Pastor Chris, as me. When I hang out with Pastor Chris, he don't put the pastoring over there and then over here I'm Chris. Like, he Chris to me because he's the homie, but his persona, his energy, everything he's about is still 10 toes down into what he's doing. He's lost himself in it. He's dedicated his life to it. He is it.
Except when he's playing dominoes. Every other time. Except when he was playing dominoes. I don't know.
He get his ass whooped playing dominoes.
Last time he's a pastor all the time. He needs some God help on that domino.
he played Eminem before dominoes or hype himself up. Shit don't work. Sorry.
Side note, this guy came in our office the other day. I don't know who he is. But they asked me, they're like, so it's not a good at dominoes? And I had to chuckle. And the person that was with him was like, damn, the way he laughed at what you just asked. It was funny.
Yeah. So that's that loot. Like, we psycho a little bit. I love it. We crazy a little bit. That's what losing yourself does. It allows you to fully commit to it. I'm in. And I allow it to shape me. And some of y'all too scared to do that. So as me is not you. You're not there yet. Through me is not, you're not there yet. You might still be at for me. So understand. So that's my last slide. I'm out.
I want to say real quick, I don't know how me and Court is so synced in a lot of our thoughts and stuff. I'm gonna resist speaking on his class because I think the class I'm gonna teach once again, it seems like we worked to collaborate again. But I want to jump right into this. As soon as I get Shakina back, we're going to do a lot of reading because it's a lot to cover. Go and grab you something. I can stall for a second. I will use this time to talk about Pastor Chris' domino game, but that would be so unfair to him. So I just said, I'm just saying, but like Pastor Chris is the purest form of a real pastor I've ever met in my whole life. That's with my background in Kojic and Church of God in Christ. I grew up in Catholicism, and he's the purest I've ever met in my whole life. But when he plays domino, somehow he becomes this like 1980 rapper before they use a curse. And he puts his hoodie on and he gets really serious. But when he loses, I don't know if he ever knows he loses. So I'll be using this stall time to talk a little smack, get a couple of jokes in there. Second thing is, I can't wait to dive deeper into some of the subjects that Court talked about, because there's a few things there that as human beings, we're just really bad at. And one of the areas that we're bad at is we are very bad at abstract thinking and making abstract choices. Let me give you an example real quick of abstract thinking. So let's say you have a vehicle, a car. Does anyone ever feel when your oil needs to be changed? Have you ever just felt it in your blood? Yeah. When you take your car to a car wash, does your car look like oil needs to be changed? Have you been playing music in your car and said to myself, oh my God, my music would sound so much better if I just changed my oil? Right? So you don't feel your oil, but you know if you don't change this abstract thing, that because it's abstract to you, it's going to change the life of a car. There's a lot of things, especially culture and rules, are absolutely abstract. And they have no feeling. Sometimes you feel no feedback from them. But if you don't address them, over time, they will cause deterioration to the system. And so it's important that we kind of dive deeper into abstract thinking, because in business, there's a lot of choices you're going to make that to the outsider seems like, why are you doing that? Why are you spending money on this? Why are you investing in that? And if you try to explain it, sometimes it's going to sound very disconnected. It's not going to feel very logical and rational, because when you're moving in an abstract space, it's a different form of thinking. I'm going to get into, I may have that in my lesson tonight. And a lot of that has to do with emotional intelligence. A lot of our emotional intelligence doesn't allow us to embrace abstract thinking. So I think the subjects that Court brought up tonight, they're really reflections of emotional intelligence. Last point is, I know a lot of people that I was on the phone this week with some very smart people. But were they? Like, let me be very clear. These people talked a great game. They did that thing called professionalism. The words, the choices of words, how they were flowing. But what was missing was thought. They were running off recipes as fast as anyone in this room could run off recipes in their field. But as I listened to them run off their recipes and then apply their thought behind the recipes, I realized they were starving in thought but rich in recipes. So what you'll discover quite often is that part of your emotional development, let me add this another layer too. I don't care how many books you read, how smart you are, you don't have access to all that information at all times. Matter of fact, you have access to very little bit of that information. So go back to court saying, you don't know much. Because when you're faced with some type of tunneling or emotional extreme, your brain has a slither of access of information. The more you enrich yourself emotionally, the more you gain access to more information to make better decisions. And a lot of us can't make great decisions in an emotional state. I don't care, from love to hate, from fear to excitement, all those emotional extremes, which creates a form of tunneling, it removes access to portions of your brain. So all that knowledge, all those books you read, all the study, all this education that you experience, if you don't develop emotional intelligence, you don't have access to it. And this is where you can become confused. You can sit in front of a crowd and run back ideas of complexities to people, and people are like, oh my God, you're so brilliant. You ever see somebody go, how did that person make the same mistake? Or they should have knew better, right? And you don't realize we all do the same. This is a flaw of being human. As humans, one of the reasons we want to get our emotional state together because we want to gain access to the knowledge that we've invested in. If you don't have your emotional state together, then what happens is that you remove a return on all your investments. So let's say you went to the best schools and you read more books than the average American. Let's say you have a very deep focus and you read a lot of information. They call it the fox versus the hedgehog. You kind of had a hedgehog approach to your industry where you know everything about your industry, but you're emotional. You're back to damn near the high school graduate. That's literally the takeaway from not having emotional ownership. Now, with that being said, let's get to the first slide. Let's go. Let's slide to the first slide. I was saying, let's get to that first slide. He skipped. I think he just left. That's a left. Then he somehow got mixed into back in. That's from last week. Okay. Let me just pull up my slides real quick because this is going to be a run. But I decided to take some stuff from the book and then go way, 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 way further. Okay. All right. Let's get into this one. Let's go. So before we get started, for the last 2 weeks, I've hinted numerous times at the impact of tunneling. Tunneling is major, y'all. Tunneling not only takes away our ability to access our brain, but takes away our ability to access the space, the environment, the impact, other people's perception of the moment. We will lose so much data through tunneling. Let's say you're tunneling and, give you an example of somebody tunneling. Let's say somebody is at a party and they're kind of drunk and they're tunneling because of, chemicals and being in the moment. If you were told the next day, you said this really fucked up thing to auntie, they don't register it at that moment the same way because they were tunneling. That person may not even be that kind of person, but with that alcohol in their system, it forced a tunneling for them to do certain things or say some things they could or could not say if they weren't tunneling, right? And so I'm going to get into just real quickly how to reduce tunneling, because I promise you, if you don't understand this tunneling thing, okay, how many of you guys are excellent going to a used car dealership or a car dealership? Which one of you guys say, I'm really good at that? It's very difficult, right? You know why it's very difficult? Because your brain tunnels. When the car dealership, the first tunneling is, I really want that car. You're already done. Their first emotion is out of control. When they put you in that car and let you go on a test drive, you smell that car and you see the features you want in that car, you officially have fell into a tunneling loop, right? Let's say you're in negotiation. Is negotiations easy? Why not? Because when you're negotiating and you want something bad enough, or you want leverage bad enough, your brain goes into tunneling. Is dating easy? That first time, guys, you go to a girl, is that easy? It's not. Why? Because your brain is tunneling. You're going, what if she says no? What if this doesn't work? The fear of failure, right? Anything that causes, let's say somebody comes to your business and there's a chance for your business to grow or take a chance for your business to take a loss. Your brain tunnels. It's a chance for one of your employees to lose some money for you. Your brain tunnels. It's a chance that your employee may embarrass you. Your brain tunnels. It's a chance you may lose status. Your brain tunnels. So your brain is under constant tunneling attacks. And if you don't know that and you think, oh, I'm so brilliant when I'm not tunneling, this must translate to how I show up, it doesn't. It just does not translate to how you show up because by default, we are all victims of tunneling. You guys get that? Everybody good with that? Okay, cool. All right, Shakeen, let's do it.
How to reduce tunneling. Explicitly consider alternatives. As Johnson Laird modeled of reasoning suggests, decision makers often fail to consider a sufficient number of alternatives. You should examine a full range of alternatives using base rates or market-derived guidelines when appropriate to mitigate the influence of the representativeness or availability bias.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an elementary version of this. And the base rates are very important as you become more, as you're working on a business, you wanna be familiar with base rates. But before we even get there, I'm gonna give you a really, really simple consider alternatives. If you feel anything at any moment, always ask yourself, what else could be true or could this be wrong? And I mean, don't say, could this just be, is there another alternative to this? No. Process the alternative. And if you can't think about it, have somebody in your circle can reach out and go like, hey, what's the other possibility for this to happen? Remember, we are by default storytelling animals. The danger when we tunnel is we tell ourselves a story and then we lock in on a story and then we build a group of actions to support this story to the point that we will sink ourselves into that story. We will die. We will even die. Many people have died on bad stories. And so being able to say, how do I know this is 100% true? And what else could this possibly be? If you can't ask those deeper questions in the midst of your, first you must see that you're tunneling. And you'll know, anytime you feel a height of emotions, know that you're tunneling. Just assume you're tunneling. And if you're making a decision in the space of tunneling, if you realize you cannot escape your tunneling, there's two ways you can do it. Go to bed. I know that sounds very funny, but go to sleep. Because you'll wake up tomorrow morning, your brain go, it could be this also. It could be that also. It could be this also, which then allows you to put yourself in a situation where you're asking questions and going through discovery to make the best decision. The other option would be call that lifeline. Hey, Fern, this is what happened to me today. This is what I experienced. This is what I think is happening. Could you see another alternative? Right? As you do these type of things, you'll be surprised. This alone, like one of the benefits of me having Mashama as my business partner, he by default always, he's a king of alternatives if you talk to him. Now, not for himself, because that's how we work as human beings. But if I go to Mashama and say, this is what I saw, this is where my conclusion, and this is what decision we're going to make, he'll say, wait a minute. How do you know you didn't see this? And how do you know it could not possibly be that? And then what it does is it requires me to have more ownership to draw a line between what I saw, what I felt, and what I'm going to do. And quite often, I say 60% of the times, it's a distortion. 60% of the times, even at my stage, right, 60% of the times it's distortion. So since I know how much distortion is that damn high, I can't wait to call people who are not, now the worst people to call are the ones who just trying to make you feel comfortable. Fern, you know what it is, girl. I know who you are. You know if they said that to you, it must be what they said. I know you know what it is, so fuck that person. That's not the person you want to call, right? You want to call the person who says, I don't know. It could be this. Now, that person doesn't make you feel good because a lot of times you want, in the height of your emotions, you're looking for cheerleaders. Don't call cheerleaders. Call people who will say, let's look at different alternatives. And a lot of these things you can do yourself, but if you cannot, then you want to make sure that you have that lifeline. Next slide. Go ahead.
I just want to add that in the midst of this now, the beautiful alternative of ChatGPT is really
100%.
beautiful.
100%. ChatGPT, that's well said. Matter of fact, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. ChatGPT is also an excellent alternative tool. I don't use ChatGPT as a destination tool most of the time. I use it as an alternative tool most of the time, just to give me different perspectives and different angles on thoughts that I've already developed, as opposed to where I think a lot of people use AI is they use it as a destination tool. I want to finish this paper, help me finish it. Nah. Help me see some different alternatives on the position I'm taking. And that in itself, but so you want to seek out alternatives. So that's well said. Go ahead.
Seek dissent. Much easier said than done. The idea to prove your views wrong. There are a couple of techniques. The first is to ask questions that could elicit answers that might contradict your own views. Then listen carefully to the answers. Do the same when canvassing data. Look for reliable sources that offer conclusions different than yours. This helps avoid a foolish inconsistency.
Okay, so I'm sure the way I've hacked this one, really simple. I live every day to prove myself wrong. I get excited when I find I'm wrong, because when I discover I'm wrong, it's like a chain effect where it changes a lot of other things and I get these benefits, right? I don't walk around defending my views more than I walk around trying to find gaps and holes. So even if I come to you and say, hey, listen, this is what I believe in, I'm really using you like the bat is a sonar. I'm literally just bouncing an idea off of you, so you can say, well, no, and I go, well, why you say that? Because here's the problem with our views. A lot of our views are also shaped by how we grew up and our situations. So our situations may explicitly just be tied to us. It's not tied to the way things work. But a lot of times those things just get mixed up in my brain and it seems like it's all truth. So I live every day to prove I'm wrong. I don't need the status of being right. I need more of the value of feeling like I want to make sure that I can get things done. I like to learn information to use as tools, right? But if I'm using information to prove I'm right, then my tools are I got a whole bunch of old tools that no longer can do the job. So I spend most of my time, you want to seek, as well as I listen to people. For example, I will listen to a group of white conservatives speak who are going to say a couple of things and going to be like, oh boy, that got to me. But I go, that's interesting, right? I will listen to people who are I listen to multiple different subjects. There's this thing called I used it earlier, the Hodge, the fox versus the hedgehog. The hedgehog masters one subject. A fox learns multiple subjects. And a lot of times I'm listening to multiple disciplines. I hear contradicting things all the time. And then I like to sit in that space and figure out, is it a contradiction or does it apply here, right? But it's wrong here. Like, what does that mean, right? So spend every day of your life, if a person is participating in building or growing anything, whether you're in leadership or you're an entrepreneur, look for opportunities to be wrong. Don't look for opportunities to be right. Look for opportunities to be wrong.
Could you could you find yourself trying to figure out the best way to ask this question? Like, if you have a challenge, right, and you get hyper focused on it, and you tunnel in a sense of you're trying to solve this issue, but you're doing these things, you're looking at different perspectives, but couldn't that be a tunnel in a way? Because there's so many, the optionality is wide, and there's so many different options. Couldn't you get in a tunneling loop in that space as well?
Yes and no. So yes. But there's also, remember, at some point you have to move. Is it good enough to move forward, right? I think where you can get stuck in a tunnel is, okay. There's a technique of how to work on things. And one of the tricks of the better way that we improve, the way that we improve how we work on things is through teamwork, through groups, right? It's horrible when you're part of a group, but you tunnel, or you become going back to Court. When Court talks about heroism, that's a form of tunneling. Like, I'm going to solve this problem. When what's best is for you to work on a solution, but also have people that you can collaborate, engage, or even work with that can help you create more optionality to the process. Because there's always be emotional snags for each member of the group that will get to the point where they're tunnel. But what the group does is the group is an excellent tool for helping us not become a victim as a group as to tunnel. Like, running a group that can solve problems, it is an art. It's a technique to that. And as a matter of fact, I thought about signing a book that talks about how to develop strong groups. But you can tunnel by yourself. That's why being a hero is dangerous, because when you're a hero, that is pretty much a full act of tunneling. So all of it is a form, like, focus could be considered tunneling in a context, but there's a way to focus that doesn't make it what I would call the negative tone of tunneling that we're using right now. And it's by when you focus, how you're able to, like, step back and reach out and collaborate and realize, for example, going back to photography or video in your world, have you ever spent all night editing and then woke up and saw the work you did 3 or 4 days later and was like, what the hell is this? And you did it, but you didn't realize how bad it was because your brain was, because it went in tunneling. You really didn't see how bad you were doing, right? But if you had, say you worked on that work right away, and you start showing people who had dissenting views or different alternative views and start sharing it right away, you would have saw the failures in your editing and your work earlier. But if you just do the work and just put it in a file and forget about it, and then you just send it to a client the next morning, and the client goes, I don't like it, and you're like, what do you mean I don't like it? You realize what you know, your standard didn't even show up because your brain went into a tunneling space.
Yeah, I think I've actually implemented a process to, like, combat that. Like, for one, especially if I'm editing at night, like, I always have this thing where it's like I gotta sleep and then watch it again with fresh eyes, because if I spend too much time on it, then, like, there's, like, a certain bias there. But also showing it to somebody who can, like, critique it well, who's in the same field, but also someone who isn't. Like, especially if I'm doing, like, a social media piece or something like that, like, and I was like, hey, watch this. If you've seen it scrolling, like, what do you think? You know?
Yes. Yeah. So I purposely go up my way to do the same thing. I don't trust myself like that, and I'm more practice, but because the brain just does what the brain does, right? We're a predictive animal. We're a tunneling animal. These things that we do for survival purposes. Then I design systems to avoid me from sabotaging my own systems, my own outcome, my own output. All right, next slide.
When possible,
you
surround
go.
yourself with people who have dissenting views. This is emotionally and intellectually very difficult, but is highly effective in exposing alternatives. It also reduces the risk of group thinking.
So go back to defensive culture we taught last week. Most of us don't do this, especially our culture. We just don't do it because once again, we're one generation off of survival was necessary for our survival. So defense was so necessary. Defense culture was necessary for our survival. So now we're the first or second generation who has access to building, and we don't realize a lot of our growth is undermined because what happens is that we can't take dissension in our group. We're looking for, once again, going back to what Court said earlier, we've been through so much shit. We're looking for people to give us emotional support and tell us it's going to be okay and hold our hand, as opposed to people saying, that's trash, start again. That's trash, but it's still holding our hand, but we don't see it as holding hand. We see that as an attack. And then I feel like that's why one of the reasons I hate is when when social justice landed in our culture, it was so defense heavy. It amplified the defensiveness that we were already suffering from to make us even more sensitive. So now we're so damn sensitive, we can't even get through a whole sentence without, but, or I'm offended. I don't know how you're offended if we're working on building some shit. Go ahead, Josh.
What is the difference between someone having dissent and someone being too sensitive?
No, dissent is saying, well, I don't know if I agree, right? What you're going into a different frequency. Like if you're saying I'm offended, all that's a fragility. Like I get rid of fragile people. I just do. Because fragile people will have me having conversations I don't need to have. When I call Court, me and Court couldn't be this close. Me and Mashama, me and Pastor Chris could not be this close if they're fragile. Because then that means I got to sit here and I got to put Band-Aids on you every day, fucking day, to have a conversation with you. I can't do that shit. I mean, we can't move. I'm losing speed. I need to be able to move quickly because my competition is coming. And if I don't move quickly, I'm going to fail. So if you bring fragile people in your circle, they're going to force failure. So in the end, when I see fragile people, I don't even invite them to my circles. Like, no, you can't be in my certain spaces. You cannot have conversations. I will not share certain ideas with you because I don't have time to. Okay, when I was talking about the lady who failed, yes, she's a woman, and yes, I'm a man, and no, I'm not sexist. Like, I don't have time for that shit. Either she had merit or no merit. Either she was good or she wasn't good. I'm not going to sit there and try to like apologize for all those thousands of different things, right? So I don't entertain fragility. It's in the opposite world, right? It's like maybe in the dog class they cool with that, but in the wolf class we've already killed them. Next slide. Go ahead.
Keep track of previous decisions. We humans have an odd tendency. Once an event has passed, we believe we knew more about the outcome beforehand than we really did.
So please stop there. That's called hindsight. A lot of people think because they have hindsight. See, if I was this person, what I would have done. Stop that. Can we stop that conversation? Like, hindsight is you heard about what happened, you heard the outcome, and you said, well, I would have done something like that. And you think that if you were placed in the same situation, you made the same decision, only to have to make the same mistake because your form of thinking is backwards. It's important that you learn backwards, but think forward. Go ahead.
This is known as hindsight bias. The research shows people are unreliable in recalling how an uncertain situation appeared to them before finding out the results. As Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, said, life must be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward.
And trust me, most people are living backwards, especially like cultural activists. All the activism that's happened, whether it's been from nonprofits all the way on to the grassroots level, if you never listen to them talk, they're talking backwards. They're not talking forward. Remember when everybody was pushing that our youth must grow up in code? Or were they pushing forward, or were they talking backwards? They were talking backwards. Because coding has worked up to this point. By the time the kids get to become adults, what the fuck they coding that shit for? like they literally probably talk through it, it probably be about prompts or whatever else is going to be invented, right? But we were pouring so much money to we got to get these kids to code, and now they're part of this layoff circle that's happening. And if anybody, Court was there, Court heard me say this back in the days, we was going to Kumar, was that Kapoor? I was going to Kapoor. Remember I was saying that doesn't make any sense, that you would put so much energy into coding when you're throwing a backwards thinking lifeline. How do you prep these kids to navigate whatever the hell is about to happen in front of them, and stop assuming that the past is just going to be copied and pasted forward? That's a whole different form of thinking. And so most times I talk to most companies, most people are talking backwards. They're discussing moving forward, but they're looking backwards. They don't have a conversation that owns moving forward. So say that real quick.
Yeah, I've been really trying to figure out how to go about making a decision journal right, because it's always like hindsight, damn near. So I was just looking for some tips for people who've done decision journals. How do you actually go about it?
So I do my decision journal. Let me tell you what I do. I anchor in conversations. So I find people that's very close to me. So for example, if I'm making a prediction in a plan, I go find somebody that's really close to me and I make that prediction to them, right? And what that does is that in that conversation, when it does occur, I can say, see how we had this and we talked about these things. Because the reality is that me writing down something in a journal all the time, it's just not. That to-do list that you talked about, that should have been moved from this month to that month. That should be like, now it's been 4 years. Come on, man, put something in this journal, right? I know I'm going to miss that step. But what I purposely do, I'll call Pastor Chris, Court, Masham, and say, hey, I have this idea. I'll be running amongst numerous people that holds myself accountable, that will hold me accountable. And so because what I'm doing is I'm pattern recognizing. I'm not predicting, I'm pattern recognizing. And I'm saying, hey, here's some patterns that I think that's going to unfold like this. So for example, I called out to George Floyd. I called out social justice in class. Remember I talked about, from day one, I was like, this is trash. Day one, I mean, when I first announced it, even my own business partner was like, oh, come on now, this might be a little too intense. I was like, no, dude, this is trash, right? I did that on purpose because it's my way of holding myself accountable as opposed to becoming a victim to this thing here. I know this is a thing. This is really a thing. And so I purposely will, I in my own household, I call out certain things. And then I say, and when I'm wrong, I say, oh, wow, I didn't see this alternative, or how, wow, I was actually predicting, I wasn't using a pattern. And in this prediction, I was tunneling in this process of thinking about it. So it improves my way of like embracing, watch this, it improves my comfort with uncertainty and randomness. So now I realize, oh, I really can't know this. I really can't know that. As opposed to the old version of me was so confident I knew all this stuff, and then was only set myself to make big gambles on bad ideas.
Yeah, side note question. Mm-hmm. If somebody made a digital decision journal product that was like based in AI that kind of helped you work through decisions, but then also logged your past decisions, would you use it?
Probably not. You know why? Because I built so many systems to hear, like so many soundboards around me to hear me. Mm-hmm. Like even in this class, I have to go back and listen to this class. Mm-hmm. I have to go back and listen to old classes. I said that shit. I said that shit. Right? And I got to say, okay, I got to hold myself accountable. But I also accept that too, my goal is not to be perfect, but my goal is to hear myself. Mm-hmm. And I also I surround myself with people around me. Everybody around me can hear me. So I don't get to like play, oh, I'm so smart, and use words where you're like, I don't know what he just said, but it sounds good. Let's go with him. Everybody around me can hold me accountable, even you. Mm-hmm. If I just start getting real loose with something, you see how it is. Like everybody challenges mm-hmm. me all the time. That is my think. I'm using that to polish my thinking. So then when I do go into a room, it's time for me to perform, I take my polished stuff into that room. I don't take if I take something new that I'm working on, I will state this is something new I'm working on. Mm-hmm. And this is just a hypothesis. And I'm quick to say things are a hypothesis all the time. Right. I don't anchor most of my knowledge in, I anchor most of my knowledge in, at this state, this is my hypothesis. The things with journals is that when you write it, will you go back and read it? I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
I know me.
I
know me. I've taken so many notes before, and I think it's just art.
Got it.
All right. Well, look at this. I'm like, where'd that come from? You. Oh, wow.
When I beta test the product, you won't be in the group.
yeah. No,
I'll holler at you, Fern.
It's waste time. All right. Okay, finish the slide.
So we generally fail to consider enough alternatives looking forward and think we knew what was going on looking backwards.
Mm-hmm. This is almost every corporate, everywhere you turn, nonprofit. I don't care what it is, grassroots groups. This is like my biggest. This gets to my nerves the most because we don't even know what thinking forward is. Go ahead.
The antidote to both is to write down the rationale behind decisions and to consistently revisit past actions. A decision-making journal is a cheap and easy routine to offset hindsight bias and encourage a fuller view of possibilities.
I think this is an American hack. In certain cultures where they study philosophy, they are aware of the principles they're using underneath the thoughts they're having. Here, we don't value philosophical thinking. So because we don't value philosophical thinking, we value most of the books, like most of the business books that are out there are recipe designs. So we value the recipes where even when I teach this class, I get pushback because people want me to give them recipes. And the problem with recipes is they're not diverse. They don't work in multiple environments. But if I can give you the principle behind the thought, then I know that it's easier for you to get to a healthier destination than to give you recipes. And I know some people who can just run off recipes like Tony Robbins, just like recipes. You're like, holy shit, I ain't never seen recipes fall out this person's mouth. But if you put them in the middle of a fight, they can't fight because they don't understand the cause behind or the motivation or the thought behind the recipe. right? So some of us are cooks while I'm trying to raise chefs. Next slide.
Avoid making decisions while at emotional extremes.
Okay, let me just say this real quick. All emotional streams. I don't care if you're in love. I don't care if you're happy. I don't care if you just found some money and you're so excited. Avoid all decision making. Have you ever seen somebody play somebody when they found money and the person next to them was able to like con them out of some money that fast? Because in that emotional space, you're not thinking. I just found $100. Oh, bro, you should at least give me 20. Because remember that time we found the money together. Matter of fact, if I would have asked you to come with me, none of that's logical. But at that moment, it's very fucking logical, right? Avoid. You meet a new person. How many friends have you known that got married in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months? And you said, dog, you don't even know her yet. Or young lady, you don't even know him yet. How many women you say, I remember I used to work in an office. This was when I was like 19, 20. And I used to work with all these women that were like 25, 35, 40. And they would go out and they were all these pretty women in this office, right? I don't know why they would never date me. But anyway, they were all older than me. Right now I was like 18. I was working so hard. They just was like, they wouldn't give me no attention. Oh boy. They told me I was cute, but at this point, you've just destroyed my self-esteem. Anyway, point is this. So I'm 18, and they would say they run the same line every time. Oh, I met this guy. He's so amazing. Like, first of all, he picked me up. He was dressed really nice. He had a nice car. And he brought me flowers. He was so polite. I was like, y'all don't know that. But this is a route that don't mean nothing. That's a script. We pass a script to each other. Like, okay, I'll do this. Okay, got this, right? It has nothing to do with who we are. We just run that script. Like, and then 6 months later, he'd be like, oh, he wasn't there. I'm like, ladies, y'all don't want to hear me talk about this because y'all think I'm just stealing your thunder, huh? Avoid making a decision at all extreme emotions. At all times. All times. All times. I'm talking about, you're on the verge of a big deal, you need help. You're on the verge of a big loss, you need help. You just took a loss, you need help. It's your favorite, you need help. It's hella cute, you need help. Man, it's disgusting, you need help. Like literally, you guys won't see the opportunities. You're gonna go to your triggered response because in extreme emotions, you're gonna tunnel to your triggered natural. Okay, it's no different than if something moves in that grass and you think it's a snake. How your body will just take over. Your brain will go to its triggered response in extreme emotions. Just know that. If you know that, and you know that there's a chance you could take a loss or you may not gain as much as you could possibly gain. This is when you need some support. This is when you need support. I remember when I was hiring at .com a long time ago, and I would watch white people and black people come in for the same interview. And they were asking for 2 different numbers for the same job. Because one they both was in an emotional space, but one person was prepped. When you go in that room, ask for this, but they was also extreme. So let's say the job would pay $140. One would come in there and be like, I don't want anything under $200. You're in a different emotional space. And then a black person who felt like, man, I don't even deserve this job, I'd be like, man, if I just get 80, I'm happy. You know, the emotional space. If both of you guys do research, you could be within $10,000 to $20,000 of the actual number, but you're way up beyond that number because emotional spaces. Be aware of all time. If you're an activist, watch this, y'all. If you're a pro-black, pro-white, pro-Asian, pro-ants activist, right? You stand for all ants. You are better to hire somebody who's not an activist to work with you to move things forward because you are tunneling because you're an activist, it's a very emotional experience, which means you're walking through constant tunnels. It's so damn tight you barely can squeeze through some of those tunnels, right? You need somebody who has no skin in the game to help you navigate that process. I know that's a possible pause, but I'm gonna let that one go. Did we already finish that one?
No.
Okay, go ahead. Finish that one.
Making decisions under ideal conditions is tough enough, but you can be sure your decision-making skills will rapidly erode if you are emotionally charged. Mm-hmm. Stress, anger, fear, anxiety, greed, and euphoria are all mental states. I don't know that word.
Antithetical
To quality decisions. By the way, it is very difficult to make a decision absence of emotions.
So okay, which we'll get into that. I'm gonna get into this in a second. I'm gonna tap into that. Why absence of emotions is just as bad. Let me share another area that can be sabotaged when you failed at emotions. This is the area that you failed, but you don't realize you failed. I'm gonna let them have it. You just surrendered because you was too emotional. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm gonna let them have it. Okay, ma'am, I talked to my manager, and I know you want the car for $35,000, and I know the tag said 40. We can give it to you 38. And I tell you what, I talked to him some more, and I'm even willing to put in my commission and get you down to 37. And because you want that car so bad, you go like, all right, fine, I signed for 37. The car, you could have got it down to 33. But you have no idea because you're so emotional. You even have an anchor that's so strong where you're already saying, if he said 40, I'm anchored at 40. If I get down like 3,000, at least I feel like I want something. That's a tunnel. There's nothing rational about that thinking there. There's absolutely no. Now, if you had already went on the market and went for what's the best selling price for this car, what is going price for this car nationwide, what's the prices that's been sold in these different regions, and you find out, okay, damn, the car can get all the way down to 30. The tax says 40, and you got down to 32, 31, 33. Okay, that's but a lot of us will settle with, they give me $2,000 or $3,000 off. I got it at 37, 38. I'm gonna let them have that. It's not always like it's not a direct loss, like as if I'm wrong. Sometimes it's let's just move on, or I don't want to keep dealing with this, or you won't manage those small things that will equate by the end of the year an extra $40,000 in your bank account because you just let these little things go because you're too emotional, because you tunnel too much. Tunneling is this because all of us are thinking of these big leaks. We're not thinking about small leaks that add up over time. And so sometimes when you're tunneling, if you're not recognizing you're tunneling, you are a smart, hardworking person that's losing. Smart, hardworking person that's losing because you tunnel too much. Tunneling can steals your investments. Next slide.
Understand incentives.
Okay, next slide. Next slide. Wait for. Okay, go ahead.
Understand incentives.
Mm-hmm.
Consider carefully what incentives exist and what behaviors the incentives might motivate.
Mm-hmm.
Financial incentives are generally easy to spot.
That's easy.
But non-financial incentives like reputation or fairness are less obvious, yet still important in driving decisions.
Mm-hmm.
While few of us believe that incentives distort our decision, the evidence shows that the effect can be subconscious. Finally, what may be individually good for group members can be destructive for the group overall.
Okay, for the group overall. Let me say this real quick. Let me get into the more complex version of incentives. Always pay attention to what's going on around you and know that you're not independent of it. Everything is around you. I'm talking about from politics to your family members to the way your house is designed to what you're reading on the news. Those are all shaping incentives. This is so important. Like, you ever meet somebody who talks about the good old days, whether it was when their company was strong, when they were successful in business, when they grew up in the hood, when they used to be good at the parties, when they used to have a lot of girlfriends and boyfriends, right? They don't realize that's influencing their decision today.
Hell no.
If you talk about your hardship, you don't realize you're influencing your decision today. You talking about the abuse you've been through, you don't realize it's influencing the decision today. Let's say me, Nana, right? I don't subscribe to thug culture at all. I don't have no interest in it. I'm not here to talk about it today, but I'm not having no interest in it. But if I hung around thugs for about 6 months in the hood culture for 6 months, my language would change, my fears would change, my considerations change, my decisions would change. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is there's this thing called status, self-value, desires. Those things are shaped by everything around you. The TV shows you like to watch, the music you like to listen to. Do you realize I am curating everything around me because I realize that everything around me has incentive power over me? I can't afford to become a victim. Because it's not your conscious mind. You can sit there and listen to like some gangster hip hop and be like, I don't believe in none of that. No, I just like the beat. And you don't realize your subconscious is like, well, I'm listening to it. And I'm kind of rationalizing with some of this. Because sometimes these bitches be tripping. And you're like, whoa, that's not how I talk. But your subconscious mind will literally say that, and you don't even align with that. You don't even use the B word. Like you may have never called a woman a B word in the last 30 years, right? Maybe when you kid, when you're stupid, but when you right in 30 minutes, well, okay, boy, fix yourself. The boy said last 30 minutes, y'all. Everybody, we can't. Pastor Chris, we got some people in here who got to help. But the thing is, but in your mind, you're reusing that word even though it doesn't come out your mouth, which means it's poisoning the way that you're interacting with women. Because in your mind, you're shrinking them to that. Or let's use the N-word. If you're shrinking black people to the N-word in your mind, even though it doesn't come out your mouth, because that's all you listen to, then even though you don't call them an N-word, you value them like the N-word. You see where I'm going with this? Everything matters. Everything matters. Everything matters. That's why I'm so into like shaping my environment, the people around my whole ecosystem, because my ecosystem are full of invisible incentives. On top of that, why that's important for you as an entrepreneur and why this is important, because once you can see the symbolism and the signals of incentives have signals, then you can design it for your company and your office and your business. You guys can't design a business culture because you can't see how small things are impacting your subconscious brain. Everything. Like, if you see me, like, for example, when I was waking up in the morning and we had these hardwood floors that we just been walking on, keep trying to take care of them. But they had these imperfections in the floors. And I realized the floor imperfection was making me not comfortable with being at my house. The couch I had didn't make me comfortable to sit. So I literally had the floor. I paid to get the floors redone. We went out and brought a new couch. Not everybody hangs out at the couch. Everybody sits around the couch. It just literally, I didn't say, hey, from now on, come out your rooms and let's all hang out in the living room together. I got this big ass TV that's been there forever. Only person takes my TV, watches my TV is my daughter. She thinks it's her TV because she punks everybody now, right? 7-year-olds are dangerous these days. But what happens is we change the couch and the floors and it instantly changed the household. Incentives. That's it. It wasn't no superpower. It wasn't me making no grandstand. All right, today, God damn it, we're going to be in this living room together as a family. It was change the couch, and all of a sudden everybody's like, I want to sit. I'm like this spot over here. Ooh, what the hell? That is that simple. So incentives is a super tunneling. It will create the brain to start to narrow what it can see, how it feels, how it processes, and before you know, you'll wake up and realize you don't like certain things, and it ain't got nothing to do with the thing you don't like. It's because you don't have your incentives designed right. Guys, get that part? We cool with that so far? All right, next slide.
In conclusion, for various psychological reasons, humans tend to consider too few alternatives when making decisions.
Mm-hmm.
In many cases, the most obvious choice is the right choice. But in a world that presents more alternatives than it's used to, tunnel vision can lead to substantial but entirely avoidable mistakes.
So real quick, when you're in tunnels, okay, the way we allow ourselves to be victimized by historical cultural flaws is the way what insulates that ecosystem of bad thinking that comes from survival space or cultural suppression or cultural trauma. The reason we can't escape a lot of times is because when we're making quick decisions, we're making decisions in duress, which is under a tunneling. And because we're making a decision tunneling, then we're pulling from our comfort zones, and our comfort zones are tainted with trauma, suppression, oppression, Jim Crow, slavery, crack era. All these cultural things are influencing our decision making. And so when you start saying, "Oh, he got me fucked up," even though you're running a professional business, they got me fucked up. That's all. You should already let you know your brain is already starting to tunnel. They got me fucked up means that you're pulling from a comfort zone of this here. You don't realize you're not speaking from the new you. You're speaking from the old you. And so for the new you to show up, which you've been practicing, developing to solve this problem, You got to know, okay, I'm in a space that I better not make a decision right now. I better not speak right now. I better just kind of step back, create some space, and be like, hey, can we get back to this in about an hour or two? Because I already know I'm tunneling. I know whatever I'm about to say. I ain't gonna want to support this later on. I don't even feel like apologizing later on. You guys get where I'm going with this? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of the solutions around tunneling is like creating space, like to give yourself slack, right? Like
Slacking
time.
people.
Yeah,
Slacking
and people. But I'm thinking about like if my goal, like I wanna be a cinematographer, right? I wanna be working on set, and I know what comes with that is long shooting days. And ultimately a cinematographer's job is to just solve a lot of problems on set, and kind of like solving problems like in the moment when you're dealing with a lot of folks who don't have this type of perspective, and it's easy to like tunnel, but also you don't have the luxury to have enough space or create enough space from trying to make a decision. So it's like, how do you practice?
Oh, easy. Postmortems. Is it premortems? Is it postmortems? Yeah. Postmortems is you sit down after the event's over. What could we have done better? Where did we go wrong? What are some things we could change? What's some things we work on? And that could be because we tunneled, we made some mistakes. But the way we're going to improve on that failure is after every event, look at opportunities for us to grow the team intelligence. And so the team becomes, our group becomes a single intelligence as opposed to you carrying all the intelligence.
Okay. And then, so if I take it a step further, if I'm in a situation where I'm working with a team that I don't normally work with, how do I kind of implement that in that space? Like if I'm on a job where this isn't a usual like team that I usually work with, but I still want to implement some of these things, create that space.
Well, you should be also going to your personal premortem. Postmortem, where you're going, okay, what are some things I learned from this that I can improve on, and then which will allow you to move quickly, but with empathy or with curiosity or with enriched strategy that's human-based as opposed to outcome-based. Because at the end of the day, outcome still relies upon, like I'm watching this AI race, and this is one of my hypotheses. I'm watching the AI race, right? And just because you take off first don't mean you're going to win, right? Like what was that first popular social media? Was it MySpace, right? So MySpace took off first, had dominance, but right? So just because somebody takes off strong doesn't mean they're going to win, right? Because technology has these multiple turns. One of my analysis is that I think the teams that you want to look at, not only will they have solid innovation, but they will have a solid team. Because a bad team can fuck up a good idea. It just can. And so, part of my analysis is that when you're working on something, you're too outcome focused. You could be so outcome focused that you could sabotage the outcome. You have to see people in the process of the outcome. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, all right, let's roll. Did we finish that one?
No.
Okay, keep going.
We stopped in the middle. Okay. Here again, you need not labor over every decision. Rather, when the stakes are sufficiently high, ask whether you are susceptible to tunnel vision.
So when there's a lot of money on the table, right? But I would also say, yeah, you don't have to labor over every decision, but does it mean some of these conversations, when you build a healthy circle around yourself, it could just be in passing. It could be like, hey, I did this last week. What do you think about that? Just like it could be almost like what they call a water cooler talk, where you're just having cool conversation, and then through that water cooler talk, you're constantly tweaking even the small decision making, right? Just don't. If you're running in the opposite direction, what Court talked about last week, which is running away from being a hero, you realize this is required. You have to constantly stay in the space of, is this the best decision I can be making? Keep going.
If so, scrutinize your decision-making process to take concrete steps to intelligently consider hidden possibilities.
Yes. Okay. Next slide. Now we're done with so let's jump into emotions. I want to jump back into emotions of the effects of being emotionless. So women, y'all know as well as I know, women online, y'all got the bad rap of being too emotional, right? You've heard that I don't know if y'all grew up, I heard it all my life. Oh, women are emotional. Oh my God, women are so emotional. Oh my God, women are so emotional. So then men came with this extreme idea you could be emotionless. And I know some people who try to become emotionless and they think they're very strong because they made money until they fall, right? Because it usually ends up resulting in fall. We're going to run through this list real quick. So next time somebody tries to demonize emotions are not meant to be demonized. They're meant to be strengthened. There's either weak emotions or strong emotions. And so you want to strengthen your emotions. But this whole idea of getting rid of our emotions or becoming emotionless is just so damn toxic. It's ridiculous. And to constantly put that pressure on saying women are more emotional than men. And then even research even comes out and says, well, actually men are more emotional than women. But even having this conversation is fucking silly, right? It's either emotional maturity or emotional weakness. So I'm going to get into like what happens when you are emotionless. And so let's run through this real quick.
Emotions aren't the opposite of rationality.
Not at all. So y'all heard that, right? Oh, you was being emotional. You wasn't being rational. I mean, we've heard this shit all the fucking time. I so hate this. Go ahead.
They're signals that guide rational thoughts. Neuroscience, like Antonio Damasio's research with patients who had damage to emotion processing brain areas, shows that people who cannot access emotions often struggle with an even simple everyday choices, not because they're less intelligent, but because they've lost the compass of what feels important.
So real quick, your emotions, when you try to make a decision on what you want in life, everything can be equal in importance. You need emotions to tell you what's important. Why should I be thinking about this versus that, right? So there's a need for emotions to help us signal value on should we go this way versus that way. Keep going, next slide.
Pricing decisions feel stalled.
So this is what happens when you have trying to think about pricing decisions, like how much should you sell something for? Let's get into emotions versus no emotions. Go.
Symptom: endless spreadsheets comparing competitor pricing, cost structure, and market averages, but no decisions on what to charge.
That's an emotionless person. Go ahead.
Why? Pricing isn't just math. It's also about confidence, positioning, and the emotional courage to say, this is what we're worth. Entrepreneurial example. A founder underprices services to stay safe, ignoring the gut feeling that clients would pay more for quality and trust.
So a lot of times when you're trying to remove emotions from pricing, you can't do pricing. You can't even get your prices right because you're trying to remove emotion. You need to have some emotions to make a decision on your pricing system. Next slide. I'm going to fly through these real fast. Go ahead.
Hiring the wrong people.
This is what happened to emotionless people. Oh my God, I have some friends like this. Go ahead.
Symptom: choosing candidates based only on resumes, degrees, or test results while ignoring cultural fit or passion.
So real quick, let's just remove all our emotions. Let's just choose the right person. Let's just use data here. Keep going.
Why? Emotions like intuition and empathy help you read if someone will thrive in your environment.
So culture matters. You can I've hired a brilliant person and put them in my culture and they didn't fit. And when they don't fit, they will disrupt all the other output sources. So I had to get rid of that person to keep the culture strong because the culture is how we got here. Go back to that culture stuff. Go ahead.
Entrepreneur example. Bringing on a technically brilliant salesperson who clashes with the team and destroys morale because the human fit was ignored.
That's it. So at the end of the day, when you hire people, it has to be a combination of human fit and skill fit. Next slide.
Missed opportunities. Symptom: endless spreadsheets comparing competitor pricing, cost structures, and market averages, but no decision on what to charge. Why? Pricing isn't just math.
I think it's just this one. Wait.
Oh.
Okay, go. Somebody, I think this. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Did the lights just pop on? Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay,
Don't
go ahead.
read that slide.
Yeah, no, it's this one right here. Weak marketing. Go ahead.
Weak marketing.
So this happens when you don't have emotions in your marketing. Go ahead.
Symptom: campaigns that sound logical but fail to inspire. Why? Great marketing connects emotionally. Without emotion, messaging reads like a manual, not a movement.
So all marketing needs to be, I'm talking about marketing material, needs to be emotional. If it's not emotional, it is a manual. And the public ain't reading your manual. They don't have the bandwidth, the time, or they don't give a shit that much. So your marketing material needs to be emotional. But those who try to remove emotion because they want to be so rational, which is not the opposite, this is how a lot of marketing sucks because marketing is emotional dialogue. It's emotional intelligence. Remember when we were talking about just why you need no emotional intelligence? I just showed you just pricing. I just showed you how it has to do with hiring. Now I'm showing you how it has to do with marketing. Keep going.
Entrepreneur example. A pitch deck packed with stats, but no story about why the founder cares, leaving investors unmoved.
So if I'm teaching a class, I'm just keep running out stats and data to you. Everybody sleep. What makes Court an excellent teacher? His stories, because it's emotional, right? Emotions. Once again, emotional intelligence is not about you being a good person and not being offensive or knowing how to show up and how to act. Emotional intelligence is how you make fucking decisions every day in your life. Emotions is your rationalization. Next slide.
Short-term optimization, long-term damage. Symptom: decisions that maximize efficiency or profit but erode brand trust.
So this is so what happens is you're making these decisions that are not emotional, that are about efficiency. And it's about getting the numbers and getting the numbers and doing what we're supposed to do and gotta be efficient. Remove all these emotions. Let's be efficient. Let's get into it.
Why? Emotions like empathy and loyalty remind entrepreneurs that relationships are assets, not just transactions.
So, wow. So you're doing business with everybody, your employees, your team, your vendors, your customers, and they're just transactions to you because you're trying to make money, because you're trying to move emotions. When everybody you engage with is an emotional relationship. What happens to a person who has an emotional relationship with everybody, your employees, your vendors, your customers, and you don't have emotional intelligence, you are quietly, unconsciously fucking shit up every day in the name of my emotions. This is how cold. I can't begin to tell you why I've been focused on emotions for so many years. I realize they are the way you express your intelligence. Like, why am I talking to you if I have no emotions? I have no reason to talk to you if I have no emotions. I say, hey, I want to help you out. I want to sell you something. I want you to buy something. That's all emotional interaction. But then when I try to remove the emotions and turn it into a transaction, I leave you emotional and empty, which means you go to my competition. Oh, I don't see how maybe the way I handed it to you and turned my head when you were talking, right? Like say you were talking and I just I'm taking notes, but I pull out my phone, I do this while you're talking. Your brain goes, oh, you don't give a fuck about what I'm saying. You finish your sentence, you smile, shake my hand, and I wonder, where's the repeat business? Because we're missing these emotional opportunities because we think it's all about rational thinking. It's not a fucking thing, y'all. So if we're not working on our emotions, we're not working on our expression of our intelligence. You only where your intelligence is inside your head, and when you're after meditation at a yoga spa. After that, you fucked. Yoga's over. You like, oh, here you come. Okay, keep going. Entrepreneur example.
Cutting customer service budget to save money, which looks smart in a spreadsheet, but sparks churn and bad reviews.
So even when you make a decision on cutting money or whatever, you have to think about the emotional impact. Every decision you're making with your business is emotional impact. But if you don't understand emotional impact, you don't see how a lot of abstract choices you make are emotional impact. Next slide.
Difficulty letting go.
This is a rough one here. Emotional. Let's go.
Symptom: holding on to dead projects on products too long because the logical sunk cost analysis isn't applied emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Emotions also give you courage to pivot, to admit this isn't working and try something bold. Entrepreneurial example: keeping a failing service alive because the numbers say maybe it'll turn around, even though the founder feels drained by it.
So we had a client. This is like somebody I just saw somebody lose almost $2 million. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating this at all on one deal. You know why? A bigger group said, hey, we want to collaborate with you to run this campaign here. This person said, nah, we really like the campaign we've been running. So another third party member ran the data and said, yeah, but this campaign you've been running for 3 years has no traction. We ran the data, we ran all these tools to see if the market has any response. We even followed the newspaper postings and everything. There's no fucking traction. The person says, yeah, but everybody around me loves it. They were so locked in, they removed their emotions and it made a horrible fucking decision. If you have healthy emotions, emotional intelligence, you'll know that emotionally I stuck on a bad idea. And that I know I can feel I'm stuck because I can't support this. When you have a bad relationship with emotions or you lack emotional intelligence, I promise you, you cannot avoid letting go bad ideas. You become a victim of holding on to bad ideas because of lack of emotional intelligence. When you can separate, when you can feel your emotions and can almost sense them and know, okay, this is what I want to do, but this is what I feel. This is how this will make them feel. And watch this. This is the most important one. And if we build this system, this is what it will eventually make people feel like. That has to be part of your equation, not I can make this much money. If I invest this, I get this kind of return. And in the long term, I will be at this number here. You got to have you have to process the whole fucking process. Otherwise, you forget you're a human being and your emotional intelligence matter. Next slide.
Cold leadership.
You know, I ain't talking about the code, like he's some cold ass leadership. Not that kind, people. We're not getting hip. This is not 1970s. Let's keep going.
Nobody's trying to bring that back.
I'm just saying, I taught my daughter to give me 5. That's our new handshake. Go ahead. Your daughter, that's how we give each other a hug, we give each other 5. She needs to learn culture, man. Keep going anyway. What's that? Show you right.
Symptom. Employees feel like cogs because decisions are framed only in efficiency terms.
So you frame getting the job done, hitting those numbers, meeting the outcome, meeting deadlines, metrics, data. Now let's get into it. Let's go.
Why? Leaders who suppress emotions can lose the ability to inspire or connect.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneur example. A CEO lays off staff by email to save time. Ooh. Damaging reputation and culture, even though the logic of cost cutting was sound.
That happened with the .com. That happened with Doge. That's what pissed so many people off with Doge. They got an email that says your job be over by tomorrow.
That's crazy.
Right? There's a way you have to show up. Okay, that's one side note. Let me show you other area where lack of emotions. You don't understand why not having a corporate purpose is killing your business. You think that because everybody's working hard. So, for example, my company is built on the backs of contributing to the black community. Everybody who works for 5T Media, and Scott, am I lying? You know you're participating and contributing to the black community. Am I lying? That's part of 5T Media's culture, right? That's at the heart of what we're doing. Now, let's say I just remove that variable from our group and say we don't talk about purpose. We want to focus on talking about efficiency. It's going to be an efficient group, get the job done, and be proud about the way things look in the end. I'm getting 75% of the work I'm getting today. I mean, I lose a certain percentage of commitment because once people are able to adopt to a purpose, they'll work harder than any money you could ever give them. So it's very, very. You probably spend too much money because you don't understand emotions. So what do you mean? If you understand emotions, which one's more important? I mean, give you $20 or bring you a meal that costs me $20. Which one has more impact? The meal, by far. The $20 has less emotional impact. If you ask, they even did this sample where they said, guy, car is broken down across the street. Guy says, hey, can you help me? My car broke down. Guy, he feels emotionally rewarding to be able to help another human being, comes across the street and works his car. Go to that same guy, goes, can I pay you $20 to come and work on my car? Dude goes, no, I get paid more than that. You just changed the conversation because you didn't understand the emotional elements of it. If you don't understand emotions, you can't even lead to the highest level of leadership. You can't get those soldiers to get over that mountain because you don't understand the emotional elements of it. All you're talking about is like, look, there's 400 steps to get over that mountain. I expect everybody to run at this pace to get over that mountain. And you wonder why nobody taking off. Because that's not what motivate them to go over that mountain and face their fears. So in a business, you're always trying to get your team to help you climb to the next level and climb that next mountain, but you don't have a rich purpose. And without a rich purpose, you are moving a company that's emotionless. So even though things are getting done every day, there's a lot more on the table you're leaving. Emotions, emotional intelligence. All this whole time, people think, can we start talking about all this psychology, emotional shit? No, because there's no such thing as when it comes to human beings, is no emotions. Psychology and emotions is the game we're playing. Next slide.
Bottom line for entrepreneurs. Logic without emotions leads to decisions that look right on paper but feel wrong in life. The best entrepreneurial choices mix both the spreadsheet and the story, the gut and the graph.
Remember a long time, you came to me and said, hey, I wrote this employee manual. And I was like,
Yeah.
The reason I said, wasn't because she put some real hard work into it. She was organized like a motherfucker, like library. She's in competition with libraries and shit. But what she lacked was it didn't have emotional landing. Yeah. It doesn't. Matter of fact, there's an argument that says that when you give people manuals, it's better to train because people won't follow manuals because it doesn't have emotions to it. But if somebody train you, it's emotional. You see the difference? This is important to understand, like, why emotions matter. And if you can't map out emotions in yourself first, you really can't see it in the world around you. And everything has emotional costs, wins and losses to it. Remember the word I used, trade-off, back in the previous class? That every decision you make in business is a trade-off. There ain't no such thing as you made a decision and it's just a decision. Everything is a trade-off. If you win something here, you lost something over here. But you got to figure out what that is. Because sometimes we're shocked by the loss. Or we lost over here, but we actually got to win, but we never get a chance to see the win because we so over-focused on the loss, right? Well, the same thing happens with, if you don't get this emotional game, there's decisions you can't see you're not making because you think it just should work like that. You know where emotions play a big role that's really, really heavy that many of us don't get because we're still acting like kids? Families. You ever seen a teenager and they're like, oh, my mother gets on my nerves, my dad gets on my nerves, they're so stupid, oh my God, it's not fair, blah, 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 blah. And that's a teenager paradigm, right? That's a level of emotional immaturity that they're going through because it's kind of chemicals and part where they are in life and the transition. A lot of things are happening, right? So they're in a very emotional, but some of us never break out of that shit. We're still complaining like that. A strong family is full of a lot of rules to protect the emotional state of the family. You might have been part of an old family or been around a strong family before. Do you realize, like, when you walk in the house, it's full of rules? Now, because everybody knows it feels like there's no rules to them until you start breaking the rules. And then somebody put you back like, baby, let me talk to you a second. You can't sit over there. That's Papa's seat. You be like, what is the seat? Nobody's sitting there. Doesn't matter, nobody's sitting there. You leave it alone for Papa. There's these rules that you might think, oh, this is stupid because in the outside world, a man and woman can sit anywhere they want to. Cool, but that's not our family. Like, this is the rules here. And in the end, once you start to see, and you may do all this outside rationalization, but then when the family comes under pressure and it goes to work and solves that problem, like gets us through it, you realize, oh, that's why those rules are there. But when things are calm, it's easy for you to step on those rules like, oh, who gives a shit about these dumbass rules? Because you don't understand that all this stuff that we're doing, there's so many invisible things that we have to be aware that's impacting our lives. And when we get to the point that we start saying, what I feel is what matters, we're not there. Let's keep going next slide, because I think this is in my slides. Okay, this is dope. This is almost one slide that says one thing, but this is hella dope. Go ahead and read this. This is hella dope.
Back to strategy and decision making. Patterns of nature.
So, by the way, we switch your brains. We're going back to decision making and strategy. This is so powerful. I need you guys to like bake this into your core. To your bottom line. This should like run all your thoughts through this system I'm about to introduce to you. Keep going.
This mistake is tough because our minds have a deep-seated desire to make our patterns and our prediction process is very rapid.
So pause. Your brain doesn't react to anything. Neuroscience has proven, effective realism, your brain predicts. It's a prediction brain. It's not a reaction brain. So your brain goes, so for example, when you get up and walk to the bathroom right now, your brain is predicting everything it needs to do in advance. It's not reacting to the floor, going, oh, the floor, let me take this step. Oh, the floor, let me take this step. Your brain's going, okay, I should probably do this because the floor is coming up. Oh, I should probably do this because I'm going this wrong. So your brain is a full prediction brain, right? Your brain is also very pattern focused. Keep going.
The researchers call it automatic, and obligatory. This pattern recognition ability evolved through the millennial and was profoundly useful for most of human existence.
This is so important right here.
In a natural environment, almost all patterns are predictive, says Hudel. So we've evolved to look for those patterns, but these casual relationships don't necessarily hold in the technological world that can produce irregularities and in which we look for patterns where none exist.
Do you understand? Okay. How long have we been in a complex system like America? Human beings as a whole. It's been 80 years total of all human history. 80 years. Before 80 years, you can't tell me a time where we lived in a world of this level of complexity, where this many people exist, with this many systems in place that you have to move in with this level of competition. Do you understand, like, the racism that happened in the 60s was in a much more simpler system? Do you understand if you're a sharecropper or you're a farmer, or when the world was built on agriculture, the world was based upon very simple patterns? Nature has very clear patterns. Your brain is designed to actually function with nature itself. So when your brain hears a crack of a tree, your brain says, I can predict what you need to do. Take the fuck off running. If that bush starts to move, your brain says, we don't have time to figure it out. The odds says best that we run, because the day there's a lion, the person behind us gets eaten, but it won't be me, right? But in a world where there's full of irregularities, which is the digital world that you live in today, all the patterns are irregular now. There's no consistency. Nature, the fall, winter, spring, summer. Fall, winter, spring, summer. Night, darkness. Rain, flood, dry, sun, storm, earthquake, some places, wind. It's predictable. It's all the same shit. It may come in irregular times, but it's the same shit. And you're biking and you respond, you're like, oh, my knees tell me it's gonna rain today. Yeah, it's probably gonna rain. I can smell the rain. Yeah, it's probably gonna rain. Oh, shit, like a tornado. It's probably gonna be a tornado, right? All these elements our brain is designed for. It was never designed for business. So this is one of the reasons that if you're trying to be common sense and organic, I will whoop your ass in business, because you're too regular and I'm irregular. I'm working every day to become more and more and more and more and more irregular, which means that a lot of times I won't even make fucking sense until you come to this side of the room. Because everything around, all your common sense, earthly, natural, I can just feel what's happening around me, is a problem. You can't. Too much is irregular. Go back to what Court said earlier. Fuck the rules, not the laws, and fuck culture. But if everybody keeps breaking these rules and culture, nothing's regular. If we all be in competition, and I go and just go, well, no, usually when this happens, you're already out the game, bro. You got to be able to sense when things are irregular and how you need to build a new strategy around all these irregularities. But you can't exploit these irregularities because you're too organic to the way the world works. You guys get this shit? This is some cold. If you realize how your brain is designed to naturally integrate with regular stuff, your brain is designed to integrate with the world in its natural state, and now we built this abnormal state. Like, do you realize name a time in human history that this many people have lived this close together and then try to kill each other on a regular basis? It's never been known. Human beings, when we got this close together, somebody's already thinking about killing somebody, and it will be done. You're gonna bring the devil in this room. We're gonna kill you. You just look like evil spirits, Josh. Wah. So the reality is that what you'll find is that this is the first time we've seen. Look, one of the reasons racism doesn't have as much power as it had in the 60s, because the system became more complex. One of the complexities is that more people, more choices, which means the individual who says no got 1,000 yeses who's competing with them. So you go to a store, let's say you go to any store in East Bay right now and say, the guy goes, he doesn't like black people. You'd be like, I don't care, I'm going to the next store. You literally have that option. There's no longer, when's the last time you've been to Home Depot and they said, you can't buy that drill. You say, but I need a Milwaukee. No, you're black. Get out of that. Go back and get that Stanley. They don't say that shit. Because why? So a lot of the power racism they had in the 60s, because the systems were very simple. And that simplicity allowed them to have stronger, robust racist systems. But now everything's very irregular. This is why it's really funny when people get mad when one white person says something racist online. I'm thinking, why are you mad? Why don't you just turn the TV off? Just turn the TV off. Like, go to your store down the street and see if he's there. He's not there? Oh, that's strange. Go to the gym. Is he at the gym? Huh. Let's tell you what. Let's go to Whole Foods. He's there? Just different people. Let's go to the hospital. Is he down there? No. Then what the fuck you care about? Go to your bank. Is he there? He not there? Ain't that something? Because society is so much more complex. Once again, the reason a lot of these old cultural views and ideas don't work. Now, philosophy still works. Because philosophy embraced a lot of this forms of thinking, and philosophy took into consideration. What I'm arguing is that your brain natural response to things are too regular for an irregular system. You ever heard that phrase that math doesn't work really well in application? It's a thinking tool, not an application tool. You ever heard that before? You know why? It's too precise. Human beings are not precise like that. Like, you can have a theory, an approach, but once you apply it to the real world, you have to adjust for the irregularities of human behavior. It's just real. It's just crazy. It's like the way you learn how to, these are thinking rhythms that's important, because when you're making decisions and you realize, well, it just feels good. This feels really good. This feels good to you. This feels good to you. That's not a thing. I don't know what the fuck that means. Unless everybody's like heavy thinkers in that room and we went through a deeper process, but some decisions don't work well. There's certain things that work well by the group, and there's sometimes some decisions that doesn't work well through the group. Because some things are so irregular, the group won't serve you well, where there's certain predictions the groups are pretty good at. You gotta know that. It's a difference. Any questions on that before I go to the next one? This is so important that you remember this, that your organic brain in the investment world, come to the investment world as you are. Go to elementary, junior high, high school, and college, and then get into the investment world and watch me take all your money. Because your brain doesn't work like that. Investment world doesn't make sense to your brain. It doesn't. Now you can learn it, and you can make your brain make it make sense. But I'm talking about organically. If you just came from your mama's house to investing, shit don't make sense. That's why Las Vegas makes so much money, because it doesn't make sense to your brain. Las Vegas is absolutely irregular. Las Vegas is tweaking odds. So do you know that Las Vegas removed most of the tables because the tables was paying too high? They put mostly slot machines because slot machines pay so much lower. Oh, they've been doing that. They've been migrating. They've been getting rid of the tables and moving the slot machines in for quite some time, because they want to reduce the amount of money you take home from Las Vegas. And guess what? You would never see it, because your brain, all you would see is the lights, the fun, the pulling in, and so many things have changed around you because your brain can't see it because it's irregular to your brain. And watch, when you sit down with somebody who understands irregular thinking, they can't almost talk to the masses. They could not be on any pop show. Anything you'll see on TV that's entertaining, they would make notes. They'd be hard to listen to, because they're constantly going, well, no, because you're thinking about this wrong. You're thinking about that wrong. You're thinking about this wrong. Can't even ask me that question. That's a horrible structured question. This whole environment is wrong, because the irregular thinking requires for you to process it different. Next slide.
Cognitive dissonance, how it impacts entrepreneurs and decision making.
Okay. We're going to run with this for about 15, 20 minutes, because that's how much time. We talked about cognitive dissonance. Who knows what cognitive dissonance is? Anybody? Bueller? Days off Bueller? Anybody knows what cognitive dissonance is? Okay, we talked about it. Okay, so this is what has been my experience with it. And hopefully, let me know online or in the room. Every time I hear somebody mention cognitive dissonance, they narrow the definition to one or two things.
Yeah, I don't fully understand.
They say, oh, it's this discomfort with inconsistencies, or this distortion of inconsistencies. And that's pretty much the end of the conversation. And I thought, that's such a flat ass way of understanding cognitive dissonance. So what I did is I put together a quick run through cognitive dissonance and how it shows up in business. You ready to run through this one? Let's do it.
Symptom, An entrepreneur keeps pouring money and time into a product that isn't working. Why? Admitting failure would create dissonance with the belief, I'm a visionary who can't be wrong. Result, instead of pivoting, they escalate commitment, just one more feature, one more marketing push.
So, cognitive dissonance is that instead you let the bad idea go, you stick with it because you want to prove that you are right. Right? It's because in your brain, I just can't be wrong. Not me. All the work I put into it, it's not possible. That's a cognitive dissonance. That's a mental flaw. Right? Read it one more time for symptom. So sticking with a failing idea. Let's do it again one more time.
Sorry, I moved to the next slide, so I lost my place.
Okay.
What part do you want me to read?
Just read it first, after the header. Keep going.
Okay.
Symptom.
Symptom. An entrepreneur keeps pouring money and time into a product that isn't working.
So you're pouring money and time into a product that's not working. You haven't seen a return. We've seen this in this class where somebody's pouring money into something. You're not getting anything back from it. I asked you what your bank account says. Your energy, time, and money, your time, attention, and money is being poured into this. You're not getting return. But you know why? You know why we can't have this conversation, Nana? Keep going. Why?
Admitting failure would create dissonance with the belief, I'm a visionary who can't be wrong.
Which means that I know what I'm doing. I have a vision. I thought about this. I talked to some people. This is new business started. People starting new businesses. They have a vision where they're going can't possibly be wrong. And instead of them being able to like hear the feedback, they can't because cognitive dissonance says, I'm a visionary. I can't possibly be wrong. So then what happens?
Instead of pivoting, they escalate commitment. Just one more feature, one more marketing push.
Just a few more dollars. I know. Just trust me. I'm just keep driving this one. Trust me. Even though I'm not getting no signals that this is right, I'm gonna keep going. Next slide.
Hey, this is also how cults get started
Yes.
and stay strong.
Yes.
Because they'll say, hey, I predict the end of the world is coming midnight tomorrow. And they get all the people to come and then lock them in with cognitive dissonance. So even when the end of the world doesn't come, they can say, well, no, God told me that, us coming together, we saved the world because of us coming together. So actually, he's going to move the date. And that cognitive dissonance will kick in so strong that no matter what evidence you throw in their face, they'll stay locked in.
Yeah. This is such a common, and we get mad even when somebody try to challenge it. Because they're not hearing that you're challenging the idea. You're challenging, am I right? Are you really trying to challenge that if I'm right? I'm offended that you would even challenge I'm right, Nana. Keep going.
Overvaluing bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Symptom. A founder hires the wrong person but defends the hire publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Firing them would create dissonance. I made a bad call. So the founder doubles down to save face.
Mm-hmm.
Results. The company loses time, money, and morale before making the inevitable change.
So you hire a bad person and you won't fire them because you want to prove to yourself that you made a good decision.
All right, so the dissonance, I'm getting two things. One is the not being congruent with your belief, and
no, you want to be consistent.
So
To make an opposite decision would prove that to say I'm going to fire this person would then say that you're not who you thought you said you were. So the dissonance says I want to be consistent by me holding on, hiring this person, and proving this person is good. It's really proving that I can make good decisions about good people.
So it's the incongruency that is the dissonance. It's not congruent with how you feel. And then I want to take it.
No. It's how you feel. It's a story you're telling yourself because you're trying to you need your stories to be consistent. So you might say, I'm a bad person, so if somebody says something to my partner, I'm going to knock them out. Even though this person, they obviously can beat your ass, right? Mm-hmm. But your brain says, I got to fight them because if I don't fight them, then I'm not a bad person.
You're not the bad person.
Right. So I want to keep these ideas, which are bad ideas, I have to have a consistent experience, right? It's like, I'm cool. So if I'm in this room and you talking to me with this corny type of talk, I might like what you're saying, but it ain't cool. And if I like what you're saying, that means I'm not cool, so I don't want to hear what you got to say. So I'm too cool to hear what shit you got to say.
So like going a little deeper then, is it rooted in your belief and your ego, which is like attached to your survival.
But it's a mental distortion. So
Yeah.
it's like it's in a cognitive behavior therapy list of mental distortions. It's like the word shoulds and all or nothings, and these are things that your brain, these are organic things your brain will tell you. So that at one point served a purpose for us,
Yeah.
right? Because remember, nature's what? Full of patterns. Consistency's probably part of your survival. When things are not consistent no more, it doesn't work for you no more, right? So being able to say,
it's taking you away from actually who you are, which then fucks you up because you aren't who you believe you are based on this thing that you're not even. It's like you can't acknowledge the truth in it because then it negates who you truly are in your head.
And the thing is, remember in the past, I would hack and say, man, fuck your life. I wasn't saying fuck your life like fuck your life. What I'm saying is that this idea of what you define as your life, fuck that, because in the end, it stops you from making this better decision, kind of the dissonance. All right? Let's read this one. Next one. We did this one, right?
Yep.
We're
doing the next one.
Okay, next slide.
Rejecting contradictory data.
Oh, this is called not listening to feedback. Let's go for it.
Symptom. An entrepreneur ignores customer feedback because it clashes with their original vision.
Mm-hmm.
Why? The dissonance between customers don't love this, and I know my market is too uncomfortable.
Whoa.
Result.
Stop, pause real quick. Let me define a character for you. It's that person who can describe and express their passion for what they do, right? And they even become very professional around what they do. They got labels and titles of what they do. And when cognitive dissonance kicks in, they're the worst at receiving feedback because because they're not mean to customers and they letting customers say what they want to say. They're still not taking it in because in their brain they're going, I know this industry. You don't love it like I do. I put all this time into it. I went to school for this. I did all these things. You did not go for this. You can possibly know what I don't know. I worked in this company. I ran my own company. I had my own retail business. So you can't tell me nothing about service business. What? Kind of dissonance. It's you putting this. I'm this. So if you tell me something I don't know, it's obvious because you can't see what I'm doing. That's not. Keep going.
Result. They build what they want instead of what customers need.
They build what they want instead of customers need. I was talking to a young man the other day, and most artists, photographers, and videographers, and musicians are victims of cognitive dissonance. They will build what they want to build for somebody, not what customers need. That's cognitive dissonance. It's like, I made this for you. I don't understand why you don't like it. Because you never heard. You thought your art gave you the right to tell me what I needed. You never sit down and try to translate what I needed. So your translation would have helped me achieve a certain goal, but instead what you said is, right in that space where you should be translating, you start dictating because it was you over me, as opposed to you serving. Okay, next slide.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Symptom. Refusing to walk away from a bad partnership or lease because we've already invested so much. Why? Walking away feels like admitting poor judgment. Result, more money and energy gets wasted, deepening the loss.
So you done bought into something, bought some new software, bought a new system, invested in new space, and you won't let it go because if you let it go, what's that say about me? Cognitive dissonance. Keep going. Next slide.
Rationalizing risky moves.
Oh, I love this one. Keep going.
Symptom. Taking on excessive debt or unrealistic growth goals, then telling themselves, this is what all great entrepreneurs do. So
you read so many entrepreneur books or so many high performer books. You just say, if I'm going to be this is what we do. If I'm a tough person, this is what we do. If I'm an emotional person, this is what I do. If I'm a giving person, this is what I do. If I'm this could be done in multiple. For example, let's say if Pastor Chris had cognitive dissonance. If he says, well, I'm a man of God and I'm supposed to I'm supposed to be a shepherd over the sheep. And as a man of God, I'm supposed to be a giver. If he has cognitive dissonance, he'll be broke in no time. Like literally, because he won't know how to say, because all somebody says to him like, but you're a pastor, how come you won't give it to me? He has to be able to say, it doesn't matter if I'm a pastor. This is not a good situation. If I give to you, I'm clipping your wings. in order for you to fly, I need you to either suffer or get through this. But instead, if you suffer from cognitive dissonance, you respond to how you perceive your reputation tells you you're supposed to act, which means you're rationalizing risky moves. Keep going.
Where did we stop at? Sorry.
Why?
Okay. The dissonance between financial danger and their identity as a bold entrepreneur creates distorted justifications.
Mm-hmm.
Results. They confuse recklessness with vision.
So a lot of times I came with this idea and then it goes from, I came up with this idea that I'm working on that they poorly rationalize, but it's tied to their identity. Then later on, they learn to put beautiful words around this cognitive dissonance. Then they go from, I have a hypothesis idea to, I have a vision. And guess what happens when they meet Nana? And Nana be like, this is not a vision. This is, wait a minute, how you measuring this? Is like I get into like the details to prevent you from being kind of dissonance. And guess what you hear? Nana's attacking my vision. He doesn't believe in what I believe in. He doesn't see people like me. He didn't go to school to the same class. He doesn't run my kind of business. Now you can't possibly see me because you don't do what I do. So you're not qualified to see me. So even though I'm asking you questions to help you avoid cognitive dissonance, you turn into personal because you're stuck in cognitive dissonance as opposed to realize this ain't personal. But when you walk away from me, Nana's tripping. Tripping, huh? This is when helping goes wrong. Next slide.
Hey, he's so hood. He took the L out of helping.
How to overcome it. Peer check. Trusted mentors, boards to challenge rationalization.
So you want to trust in people around you to challenge your rationalization. Otherwise, you'll be a victim of cognitive dissonance. Is such an invisible, deep down. Like you know how long it would take for me to interview you to see if you have cognitive dissonance? It would take, oh God, because you would have so many personal layers and so many defensive layers that I would have to be so motivated to get there to say, this is cognitive dissonance, right? And if I tell you right away, more than likely because you're so deep in cognitive dissonance, you're like, no. Is it because at the end of the day, I know more. I've been in this longer. I've been doing this for years. Those are cognitive dissonance arguments, right? I've been doing this for years, thinking backwards to move forward. Doing this for years means that those are old patterns. The industry's changed. Maybe that's the problem. You've been doing it for years. But cognitive dissonance makes that an argument. So now you walk around with, I've been doing this for 20 years and I know more than everybody in this room. You've been doing it for 20 years, you might have 20 years of flaws. This is kind of this. So when somebody talks to you, this is why you have to work on your emotional intelligence, going back to emotional intelligence shit, is because if I'm trying to talk to you and you got all these kind of dissonance, because kind of dissonance is an emotional issue, and I can't cut through that process, then everybody's adversaries to you. Everybody's getting on your nerves. People don't understand you. Nobody don't see my vision. I don't understand why nobody understand where I'm going. I feel like I'm always disrespected. People don't value what I'm doing. This is why it's hard to get value from motherfuckers out here. That's why whatever the fuck you say after that is trash. That's why and then trash. Cognitive dissonance. Keep next one.
Data discipline. Regular dashboards that expose facts.
This is when ChatGPT does play a great role against your cognitive dissonance. Start asking some questions. Like the facts will come out if you look for them. But a lot of times when you're stuck in your emotional tunnel, you're more or less trying to protect the tunnel more than you're trying to find the facts. Next one.
Well, and ChatGPT is biased, so it only works towards your bias. You have to intentionally unprogram it.
Yeah, but you got if you fighting your own bias, because if you ask questions and you stay within your bias, ChatGPT can validate your bias. Mm-hmm. If you're constantly using ChatGPT to challenge your biases or challenge your ideas, it can give you alternative ideas for you to consider.
Yeah.
Remember, even if I give you advice, ChatGPT give you advice, or somebody who comes along and calls himself a demigod gives you advice, responsibility always falls on you. Mm-hmm. When you start saying, well, court told me, I'm gonna look at you like, oh God, I know you did not. Aren't you grown? I might give Jordan a couple more years, but everybody else, y'all hella old for doing that shit. Keep going.
Pivot mindset. See quitting as strategy, not failure.
So there's a time pivoting, which we'll get into some class later on, but knowing how to pivot. There's times when you just need to pivot. Bad ideas, kind of just, when do you pivot? You got to know there's got to be a fail. So I think it was Scott talked about, I was investing and he set a limit. So when it gets down to a certain limit, his account just automatically pivots without him engaging it, right? He goes, oh, that's a bad strategy. I'm like, no, it didn't work out this time, which is true when he did it, but that's not a bad strategy. You got to have a point where you say, when it gets to here, because you're playing the probability game, which is if you're playing the probability game, you're not going to always be right. You're going to be right based upon a certain. So he may be right 3 out of 5 times. He can't look at those 2 times as valuable data. It's part of the long play. So his system was smart. Just in that situation, he didn't win. Okay, keep last one.
Reflection, journaling decisions and why you made them.
I know, journaling again. Okay. Next slide.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So like, let's just say like journaling may not be your thing. What is your primary replacement tool, like conversations?
No, it's literally putting people. I put so many things around me to hold myself accountable. Even teaching this class is a form of journaling for me, because I don't come to this class and just have a throw up moment where I'm just throwing up my ideas. I did it the first year. I'm constantly trying to prove myself wrong. I know as a teacher in this class, I cannot always be right. That's not a thing. But it holds me accountable when I get a chance to see my thought patterns in the material I'm teaching. Also, I get a chance to see it in my business. I get a chance to see it in my surroundings. I literally I'm making decisions, but I'm almost like I think Scott said this to me one day. He's like, "Nana, you in class?" I was at the office one day. He goes, "Oh, you're working out a lesson for class, huh?" Because I'm running that same thing over 1,000 times through different minds, and I'm filtering through. Because at this point, it's a rich hypothesis. I'm very convinced it's true, but I want to make sure that it's landing and is accurate in its application. And so sometimes some of the things I'm running right now will be taught 2 or 3 months from now, because I'm going through the process. So I'm taking more ownership. And then I love the study of thinking. I love studying thinking. Thinking is really anchored in a lot of philosophy and history, right? Because you're looking at studying these patterns, you're compressing these ideas and these stories. You're studying a lot of different philosophy. You're showing, and then you expand those philosophies and see how they play out in current day situations. So even when I watch current like news or whatever happened, I'm watching thinking patterns. I'm watching patterns. I'm watching thought rhythms. I'm watching all these elements. I'm not really paying attention to the story at all. Like you might say, who's the name of that lady on CNN? I don't know, but she was absolutely wrong. Or, oh man, she's a brilliant way she put that thought and that idea together, right? I'm watching storytelling. So I'm always practicing. I enjoy living in a space of really listening, hearing, and seeing. And I know I can't, so I'm always trying to see more and more and more. I don't practice blindness. We know who practices blindness? Pop culture practices blindness. You've been around pop culture people in a group? They talk blind to each other. Oh my God, you look so fabulous. Oh my God, you're doing so well. What's going on with you? Do you ever see anything? How the fuck are you running a script when you see people? Have you been in the office and when people don't see each other, they're like, how you doing? Oh, great. I can't take that world. I can't. I'm the worst in that world because I practice seeing people. Right? I don't speak at you. When I say what's up with you, I really want to hear what's up with you. I don't hear like, oh, I'm doing great. I'm like, yo, why you mad at me or something? Why you being corny? Like, so I practice seeing, which then allows me to then also see myself. And I'm always asking myself, what can I do better? I'm talking about every day. I don't walk around with, there's no confidence in my game. I love life. I'm actually very spiritual, but I'm never going to let y'all get me. But
Sounds so enlightened.
We're not doing that. No, because I don't want to be. Somehow you bring up spiritual, people be like, "Oh, you like me?" No, I'm not like you at all. No, very spiritual. So I don't need to feel good about being right or I know it all. I believe that I'm on a journey that's never meant to be ended. And that the experience of me being here, the joy of like discovering it, is spiritual to me. It's part of the spiritual journey, right? As opposed to me trying to champion an idea. So when I meet religious who are like, this is the way it is, I don't want to talk about nothing else, this is the way it is, I hear you and I get it. And I'm not challenging the religion. I'm challenging, but does it create more curiosity or does it create more, or does it force you to close your eyes? If it forces you to open your eyes more to a point that even you start to almost see. So for example, I was having a conversation with some Christians the other day and I said, which one moves people more? Stories or facts? They said stories. So then why would you want, I said, based upon the human operating system, I said, do you realize that humans by default makes myths? We make myths. Like for example, your grandmother and your grandfather, even your parents are a myth. They're not real to you. You made them a myth. Your brain turned them into a myth. You will never see your mom and daddy for who they really were. Like Cardi B, all of us know Cardi B. I promise you that child will see the myth, not the more Cardi B. If the child ever loses that myth, it's almost devastating. It destroys them because they need to hold on to the myth. And so as parents, our job sometimes is to keep the myth alive more than to keep the truth alive. Yeah. This truth thing is not a thing for human beings. So human beings, if you look at our history, even Michael Jordan's a myth. Anybody you can name, anybody in the news, myths, good or bad. Trump is a myth. We don't know. Nobody knows Trump. No one has sat down with the man for like at least 6 months and be like, oh shit, this is who you are. We've embraced the myth of Donald Trump. Obama, he's a myth. So you realize that the human brain is a myth story making machine. Okay, so if I had to move most human beings' behavior, would I tell them the truth or would I create myths? Okay, me have you again. Why is America why is capitalism working? Why does the Constitution work? Because we put myths to seal it. Without those myths, it's some shit you came up with. I don't believe in that shit. Myth says, hey, our founding fathers wanted this, our Constitution believes in this, this is America. That's all myths. So if somebody was like higher God and they had to talk to the animal who moves based upon myths, would that God give us facts or would it give us myths? So why are we arguing about facts? Well, I don't believe that Adam was in East Oakland. He was in West Oakland. Bruh, I don't know if that even matters. Because at the end of the day, if Adam was anywhere, it's going to become a myth. You guys get on with this? Like, we're having these silly arguments because we don't understand how to move human nature, and yet we listen to kid logic, a young, immature version of logic. It's like, it's all about the truth. And it's like, never is all about the truth. Because what people want to believe, sit in front of decide to get into teaching and try to tell people what they need to hear versus what they want to hear. See which class is packed.
When we were going through that big crisis with bipping in Oakland, and you would see those guys in bright daylight just walking around parking lots without a care, breaking into cars, could you say they debunked the myth because they knew what police response times were and what they cared about and what the laws were at the time? They didn't. No, they had a different story. Yeah, they had a different story. So they definitely shaped another story that was able to brew in that smaller group for whatever the causations. And I don't think we should get into positive or negative because it needs to be understood, right? And I think once you get into negative, now I'm tunneling to now achieve what I want to hear and what I want to see. But we are really myth-making machines. Like when I say story-making machines, once people come up with a story, now the superpower, going back to what Court was mentioning earlier, is when you can move outside your own stories. When you realize your stories are tools for you to create and make to achieve your goals. When you realize that also attacking other people's stories are dangerous because even though their story may be false to you, which most of us are, it's what's holding them together. Literally holding them together. That's it. So you got to know that, like I said, it's just way more complex. Just way, way more complex. But many of us stuck at certain levels because, once again, cognitive dissonance, I'm a person who believes in human rights. That's how social justice took off because of cognitive dissonance. You remove cognitive dissonance, social justice dies within a week. Because social justice is literally, the outcome is opposite of what they want.
Think about it. Tell me something. What does social justice stand for? Just summary. Quick summary. No, ask quick. Just quick summary. What does social justice stand for? What are people trying to achieve? Just summarize it. Can somebody summarize it in a couple of sentences? What does it stand for?
Equality for everybody in society.
Is equality for everybody even possible?
No, but I think that's their mission.
It's not a possible thing, right? Because equity is possible. Equality is not possible. Because that means, like, in this room, are we equal?
Nope.
No, I ain't mad. Are you mad about not being equal?
Nope.
Shit, no, I'm not mad about not being equal. We got some smart people up in this room. I'm not mad. Shit, it's smarter than me. I'm like, shit. Look, put numbers in front of me. Hey, can I take it to the bank? Anyway, go ahead. Okay, so, but social justice, I'm a good person. Because I'm a good person, then I should want equality for everybody. That's kind of the dissonance. But it's not possible, right? I believe that we should treat everybody fair. Do they? Everybody, or was it some people? Like, did you guys ever been in social justice anything and decided to come in here acting like you're from East Oakland? Okay, so I was raised in a household where my mother would call transgender transvestite. I didn't know transgender was a thing until 10 years ago. I went to my first social justice circle and I said, so what's going on with the transvestites? And everybody went, oh my God, no. I said, wait, what? We don't use that word here. We don't. Well, what do we call them now? Like, it's like there's just certain terms, like you grow up in East Oakland, you're like, And here's the thing: if we play diversity, I grew up in East Oakland. I understand you say, hey, well, can you mind calling us transgender because that's what we prefer? It doesn't warrant an attack if you understand diversity. Because you understand that I have a different diverse background where my great grandmother used the word Oriental and Arabs. You gotta go down to the corner store and get some money from am I lying? Y'all know this. Come on. Anybody from Oakland know this? We go in the corner and get some money from the Arabs. And your cousin, he was transvestite down. Right? That's what I heard. Right?
Honestly, I feel like that has really changed in the last 20 years because that was my childhood too.
That childhood. So the end, it's not, and mind you, it wasn't that those changed our treatment towards Asian people, Middle Eastern folks, and transgender folks. We didn't really change our, and so even when you gave me the new titles, it didn't change my relationship to transgender folks, Asian folks, and Middle Eastern people. Either I fuck with them or don't. It's just that simple. That's always been a rule of Oakland. We've always been a diverse community where you cool, you're not. We're not gonna override that. So if you on some whack shit, you out. If you cool, we cool. If I'm performing, you're not performing, we're not gonna hang out. But if you performing, I'm performing, I don't give a shit what your background is. Let's start collaborating. That's how we grew up, right? And then all of a sudden, now we got the situation where you start separating us through social justice by saying, oh, if you don't speak like this, you're on this side, even though my intent and my love and even my actions, then they even distorted words like racist and prejudice. Can black people who have no money be racist towards white people who got money?
Nope.
Then why are we using the language incorrectly? So you saw Drewski do the white face the other day, right? He dressed up with a white, like a NASCAR. It's hella funny. Mm-hmm. And then white people say, oh my God, no, he is not, what they call that, face painting, what do they call that? They say, oh, he did a white face. I'm like, no, this is not equally exchangeable. Like, we don't have a background of like selling you in on boats and brought you in and put you on chains and say, pick that cotton. We didn't do that. so you guys go like, this shit don't make sense that you try to, remove the history and be like, it's equal. You see with men and women. Well, I paid, so why don't you pay? I open the door, why don't you open the door? You even see dudes, a dude will come up and, like, you on a date with a woman, and a dude will come up and disrespect her, and he'd be like, well, that's your problem. Oh my God, what world are we in?
Well,
like, this new generation is shifting because men and women are equal now, so what's good for the goose is good for no, it's not the same thing. We're not equal, but the idea of equality is now creating a disruption that doesn't really work on the ground level. Mm-hmm. It doesn't function. So it's just this kind of the dissonance is once I believe in these ideas, now I need to run these ideas, which means that we create a clusterfuck of situations. All right, let's go because I want to close out. Let's see this last slide.
Takeaway.
Okay.
Cognitive dissonance makes us defend our past instead of designing our future.
Whoa, read that one more time. So this is what we need to go home on this right here. Cognitive dissonance does what?
Cognitive dissonance makes us defend our past instead of designing our future. Best entrepreneurs balance pride and vision with humility to adapt.
That in itself is why cognitive dissonance is so bad, because I see it especially in most pro-black people, most culturally people, most racially, most social, most just people with passion. They're too busy defending their past and won't go ahead. And they're so busy protecting their past, they have no room to design their future. And so it's like, you're not going to do me like this person did to me before, but won't allow the relationship to thrive into what it can become. That's it. We out of here. Have a good night.